Chicago, stand up. Clap your hands like this. It's your family member Charles Jenkins. Woo! Clap your hands like this. And we don't stop. I'm with my brothers. Clap your hands like this. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Kinsmen. Let's go. I've seen storms. I've seen rain. I've seen joy. I've seen pain. I've seen good. I've seen bad. I've seen happy. I've seen sad. When I see
what's up? How's it going?
Where I've come, when I see where I am, when I think of where I could be. Hallelujah. I'm so grateful for where He's brought me. Let's go. I'm made. Woo! I never should have got this far if you made it. I'm so happy. Clap your hands like this. I'm made. I never should have got this far if you made it. Say, oh, I'm made. I never should have got this far if you made it. Nobody but Jesus. Clap your hands like this. I'm made. I never should have got this far if you made it. Say, oh, I've been right. I've been wrong. I've been weak. I've been strong. I've been up. I've been down. I've been on the mountain. I've been on the ground. Testify. When I see where I've come, when I see where I am, when I think of where I could be, I'm so grateful for where He's brought me. Let's go. I'm made. Woo! I never should have got this far if you made it. Clap your hands like this. I'm made. Never should have never. I never should have got this far if you made it. Say, oh, I'm made. Talk back. I never should have got this far if you made it.
How's everybody doing?
It's a party, y'all. Clap your hands like this. I'm made. I never should have got this far if you made it. Say, oh, talk to him. You don't know like I know what He's done for me. You can't tell it like I give me some space. 'Cause it's my story. God's been good to me. Say, God's been good to me.
What's up, everybody? How y'all doing
God's
today?
been good to me. I made it. Woo! I never should have got this far if you made it. Clap your hands like this. I made it.
How everybody doing?
I never should have got this far if you made it. Say, oh, I made it. Got so much joy. I never should have got this far if you made it. When I think of His goodness, clap your hands like this. I made it. All that He's done for me. I never should have got this far if you made it. Say, oh, I made it. I never should have got this far if you made it. Clap your hands like this. I made it. Praise Him hard. I never should have got this far if you made it. Say, oh, I made it. I will bless the Lord at all times. I never should have got this far if you made it. And His praise. Clap your hands like this. I made it. Shall continually be in my mouth. I never should have got this far if you made it. Say, like this. I made it.
What's that? Put what? Corridors? What's that?
The one word I kept hearing over and over again is
Yeah. With Tasha. Y'all ready? It's your boy.
I don't know who that is.
Judah. 1, 2, 3.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, I lost some friends, man, this year was crazy. Been through hell and back, learn to appreciate. Really dark night makes the morning gray. So until freedom, it's gonna be a fire feeder. Really need to come on, people.
I have to look him up and see. What is he saying? What's like your favorite song of him?
We are getting smarter. So many egos are getting smarter. Uneducated will be no longer. In the pandemic, we done met the father. So the freedom is on me. Fire feeder, really need it. We need a we need a
Is that gospel? Rodriguez, is that right?
Try to politics, no more lazy days. Cause I was quick, not another minute. Spent where I don't fit. I'ma just talk to God and my therapist. Because I need
Thank you for the hearts. I appreciate you. Bless you.
What
up, Logan? How's it going? Appreciate y'all doing.
Revival is coming to somebody's soul. I hear God saying we don't have tent revivals anymore, but you can have a house revival if you would just get called away. I come right down in your living room if you let me. I come right down in that office if you let me. Somebody better pull the car off, because it's revival time in your house. It's revival.
Hello.
What's up? How are you?
Good.
Good. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
I'm good.
You good? That's what's up. All right. What you up to?
No, made out my video on my TikTok, and
Okay.
I can't I can't get to my light. Yeah, can't get to 10K.
Right. So you came on live to get some more. That's what's up. That's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do in your video? What kind of videos you make?
Like I gained, like post my picture on there, got my boy, my sister, and my mom.
Okay. That's what's up. Yeah, I'm just getting ready for I got a conference I got to speak at tomorrow. in New Jersey, so I was just going live so my video can get some more likes, like you. So, you know what I'm saying, like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I try to get on my light, like, get people on here, like, look, Tuesday don't need to be on TikTok. And not
Right.
only that, big kids can get on there, but little kids cannot get on there.
Right.
Because it's not on there yet. No, it's not on there to get on TikTok.
Right.
I can, but you cannot get on there because it's not on there yet.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
Cause
yeah.
I'm grown. I do what I want to do on my TikTok code. I do what I want to do on it. But little kids don't need to be on TikTok.
Right. How old are you?
Um, I might be on my birthday code. I get my code. I be say,
Okay. All
cause
right.
I got birthday code.
If I don't see
Yeah,
you,
I
then happy early birthday. So I hope you enjoy your birthday. When it
yeah.
comes.
It gonna talk what the corn. No, I can't go live more and at night in the morning. I go live every day.
Right.
I can't get fair. I can't get a fair cake. No, I can't get come on right.
Right.
No,
Right. Okay.
cause, cause you have to. You gotta be careful on your air. Cause so long ago, like Kim on here. Go on here, like it could make all get killed on the air. It's a lot of kills on there.
Okay.
Like it don't need had that air. I'm glad, but like the kills not glowing it. It got a long way to go though.
Right.
Cause I'm glad I had kick up I want to, cause nobody can stop me. Make my videos look like that.
Right. Okay. Okay. That's good. Yeah.
Cause
Go ahead.
yeah, like my thing back then, don't be bossing people. That's the first thing you fuck on that people, you can get this much forward.
Right. Right.
Cause, cause it gonna get mad too, cause you boss them.
Right.
That's why I go like ask the child. Like when my mom go from work, like mama at work, how gonna mind me get on TikTok?
Okay. You get on
That's
like
why I
every day?
can't go.
You get on like every day? Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. How many followers you got?
I thought I got a lot.
You got a lot? That's good. That's
I
good.
can't, I can't catch up, no, can't get that no.
Right.
Cause that Lucy gonna be on that app. Go
Hmm.
folk need to be on here.
Yeah, true.
Cause the cook not on the head kick out. The only who gone is me. Cause I do what I want to with kick out.
Okay.
Cause I be had the kick out inside that.
Right. Do you put them in
That's
your
why
videos? Okay. That's good.
I post a whole lot video. I be post a whole lot. So
Mm. Well, I'm gonna have to check your videos out when I get time, so I'll check you out then. So
yeah, I can't go live more. No, I won't go live at night anymore. Cause I be giving videos and stuff.
right. Okay.
Cause that's why I can't do on time, make all my videos, cause get a like all my videos. So
Right.
you see all my videos on my TikTok, you see all of them.
Okay.
Cause
I'll
I
check
got
them
a
out.
whole lot. Huh?
I said I'm gonna check out your videos. You gonna check
I
out
be
mine?
post. Yeah,
All right.
I'll catch y'all too. Cause I be post mine like every day, like post. So
Right.
I'm gonna catch you come on light. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just followed you.
Okay.
All right.
I.
I'll talk to you later.
Do it forever. Yo. What's up? Whoever's on, I appreciate you being on. Let's get ready for this conference tomorrow. Keep on. What's up, everybody? Blessings to y'all. What I know about that, man, listen, I got an old soul, you know what I'm saying? So, but I'm all about empowering our people, man. And when I say that, man, like Martin Luther King was always my favorite, you know, but I'm like a mix in between like him and Malcolm X. So it's like this quote I got on my t-shirt: a leader like Martin that won't take no mess like Malcolm. You know what I'm saying? Because I was born in Chicago, so, but I'm definitely like about like my people empowerment, man, for real, man. And like the people that want to come with us, man, because it's going to take the right people, like whites and blacks. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's definitely going to make change. So
I heard it, like I listened to the song, and then it was just like I just was playing it again and again. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? Definitely a good song to vibe to. So you know, so yeah. And sometimes you gotta do what you know. You know what I'm saying? So and I want to make change for our people, man. Make change for this world, man. We need real leaders, man. Not like these people these leaders that's just up here for like money and stuff like that. Nah, really like big movement, man. Like that's what I'm about, man. So my grandma, she raised me like that, man. You know, I mean, I grew up with my mom too, but just like seeing our people, man. And one thing I know, man, is that the power of persuasion, and like the power of one person, like saying something that can impact a nation. Like we still look at quotes that was written by people like, you know what I'm saying, Marcus Garvey, like whoever, like Malcolm X, you know what I'm saying, like quotes that still make things different, man. So it's just like, that's what I'm about, man. And, you know, like my grandma, when I was 13, man, she was 75, and we knew she was about to pass away, man. And grandma was like, we went to the hospital, so like we there, right? So like everybody was in the hospital room, right? So then grandma like, everybody get out but Loki. So that's my nickname. So I'm like, so at that time I'm crying like, grandma, I don't want you to go. You know what I'm saying? I was being selfish because I didn't want her to go, you know. Some days she had her medicine worked, some days it didn't. My grandma was taking like 10 pills every day. Like she had that case Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, you know. And my grandma was like, grandson, I had tears in my eyes. She said, grandson, I'm tired of living for people. Take care of the family. I ain't the oldest grandchild. Like, she still got children left. Like, my mom is still here. So I understand my purpose, man. And I tell people all the time, is it about you or is it about your purpose? Because if it was about you, Harriet Tubman, she wouldn't have went back. See, think about it, right? Harriet Tubman, you know, she helped free slaves. So if it was about Harriet Tubman, when Harriet Tubman got free, she would have stayed free. But if it was about Harriet Tubman purpose, she would have went back. And that's what it's about, like going back and setting the captives free, going back and freeing our people. Because some of us are slaves in our own mind because of things that happened to us. You know, things that we've experienced when we went to church. You know what I'm saying? Things that we've experienced from family members. So I understand that. It's about my purpose, man. It's not about me, man. And I think if we had more people like that, we'd be in a lot better position as people. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, I look at it, I can either be part of the problem or I can be part of the solution. So, you know, one day I was just talking to God, having a conversation. I'm like, God, look at this negativity. All of this stuff over here happening. All of this stuff over here happening. I'm like, it's crazy, man. Look at this messed up world, man. I'm like, God, what you gonna do about it? And he was like, what you gonna do about it? It just made me think, man, like, it's time to do something, man. And like, so I've been behind the scenes preparing, man. So it's time for the season of exposure. Like, you know, people was like, man, you should run for this, you should run for that. And I'm like, listen, they were like, you should run for president. I had some folks, you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. So, you know, like my mom introduced me to Jesus at an early age, man. And so it's really like, but we know like his that was a translation name, but the name Yeshua, you know what I'm saying, Yahushua, how some people say. But understand it, man, like it's about real change, man. You know, how you doing? What's up there, sis? So, you know, just being able to just make change for our people, man. And so if I gotta be that voice, man, like, then I'll be that voice, man, because we definitely gonna make change, man. Like, I'm telling you, like, it's gonna be some positive change coming, man. And I'm gonna be posting videos, you know, that it's gonna make people think, man. Like, it's gonna make people change. Like, we gotta do some things together, man, because I want to see better for our people, man. Like, I want to see better for our children, man. Like, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be part of the movement that changes some things, man, and let people know, like, you know what I'm saying? That's how it's gonna be, man. So yeah. So Well, yeah, why you a believer?
Why he took them away, left me here, I'm not clear. I guess I have more to do, and he has more assignments for me to complete.
That's what's up. So, I've been working on this podcast, so I got that coming out. It's called Loki's Effect. And so what that is so my nickname is Loki. So, and I capitalized the key part. So I'm going to, it's like, so the way that I had did it, the way God was impressing it on my heart is there's no way that you can come into my life and I can't affect you in a positive way. So you see my name on here is Mr. Encouragement. So like, that's all I do is encourage people. Now I will let somebody know something if something needs to change. So like, for instance, right? So I grew up like in the hood. So like I was born in Chicago, but I lived most of my life in a small town in Pennsylvania called Furrow. So growing up in the hood, I was always cool people's. Like I never drank, I never smoked, I DJ'd, but I was always around that. So like, I mean, drug dealers, whoever, people respected me. Like I remember one in particular, like after a football game, he gave me some money and was like, man, thank you for like showing out, man. He was like, listen, don't ever do what I do. So like, I've seen other drug dealers like get out of jail or get out of prison, and I go to him like, yo, bro, you gonna stay out of jail? Like, what you gonna do? So like, I'm coming to them, letting them know, listen, man, you can't go back in. And I had folks, they were like, yo, Lo, they was like, listen, man, I'm gonna be smarter. I'm like, bro, you can't be smarter about it, man. If you gonna be smarter about it,
On drugs. You know what I'm saying? Who is that? So somebody wanted things.
So the drug dealer was like, yo, I'm gonna be smart about it. He said, man, I'm gonna be smart now, so they won't catch me. I said, bro, so you mean to tell me that you gonna come out and you gonna sell drugs smarter? He like, yeah. I said, now think about this. The people that you are selling drugs to are dependents. We call them crackheads, and I don't really like using that term, you know, but they're dependent on a drug, right? So if that person does not give you the amount of money, if they buying $20 worth of crack, if that's what they ask for, and they don't have all the money, you're not gonna give it to them. So then what do? They start fiending, right? So then they take that money, right? They take whatever they got, and they start to go rob their parents. They rob family members, you know, because of the dependency. They not trying to do that on purpose, but because of the dependency of the drug, you know what I'm saying? They just want to get that next high so they can get, you know what I'm saying, to deal with that. So I'm like, okay, so look at it like this. The police, when they captured you the first time, or whoever they capture, they take these drugs and they keep them. And then what happens, right? They go into evidence, right? But they end up back on the streets because they resold them. Come on now. So I said, so you're gonna be smarter, right? So let's say you don't give them drugs because they were short the money, right? And then you have a police officer, or you have an informant, or you just have somebody. Let's say they don't even know that they're a police officer, but they say, listen, if you tell me your informant, if you tell me the person that you normally get the drugs from, I'll give you this for free. Because of the dependency, they gotta what? They gonna tell, right? So why would I want to do something like that? And so they was like, nah, I never thought about that, Lo. I said, yeah, you gotta be smart about it. I said, you ain't even got no real money. You can't hustle your whole life. I said, bro, you ain't gonna have no 401k. You ain't gonna have nothing built up for Social Security. None of that. Because we know majority of the drug dealers, they sit over there, they buying the houses, buying the cars, living lavishly because that money keeps coming in. They ain't really saving money up like that. I said, you can't hustle your whole life. Like, you got to get real money. Because I used to sell DVDs and CDs, so I was known as the movie man. I DJ'd, you know what I'm saying? But I remember a time, like, this was back when VH cassettes was out, right? So back when VH cassettes was out, you know what I'm saying, I used to sell them. So I remember somebody showing me, like, on the desk, it was like weed. That was the first time I ever saw that much weed in my life. Now, I seen weed on TV, but I've never seen that much weed in my life. And I was just like, God, that's a lot of nicks. Now I'm thinking small, man. I'm like, that's a lot of nicks and dimes. And I thought about it afterwards. I left. I'm like, you don't even think like that. Like, you sell that in pounds. They was like, yo, look, why don't you sell this? Because you be real good because you don't smoke. They was like, and all you got to do is give me a cut of this. So at that time, my kids was young and they, you know, you can't hide from your kids. But they knew I sold movies. So I'm like, nah, I just turned it down. So, but I'm not judgmental. I understand if somebody had to sell dope, that's what they decided to do to take care of their family. I understand that. So when I talk to them, I'm like, yo, so you gonna sell dope, you know, to take care of your family. What happens when you get caught? You can't make no money behind bars like that you making money now. And then once you get caught, they taking everything. They taking all your houses. They taking all your cars. Because guess what? When they run your social security number, it's going to tell them the last time you had a job. So you ain't had a job in 12 years? You ain't had a job in 15 years? You ain't had a job in 20 years? But yet you driving in this nice Audi. You driving this nice Mercedes. You got this truck, tinted, you know what I'm saying, sitting on 24s with rims, and you ain't got no legal money? Come on, man, we got to do better. You a whole CEO anyway. Like, you got you do a profit and loss. If they don't bring you a certain amount of money, right? You hire muscle. That ain't nothing but security. So you a whole entrepreneur. You just in the wrong lane. So I talk to them to be able to change their mind. You know what I'm saying? To do it differently. So like when I hustled and sold DVDs and CDs and I had a conversation with God, it was time to stop. So now I turned everything that I had illegal into legal money. You know what I'm saying? So I stopped selling CDs and DVDs, and I went to Uber, Lyft, Grubhub, DoorDash. It was nothing but hustling. And then when I ended up going to, when I moved to where I live at now, I ended up going to Verizon. So I ended up working there for like 3 years and quickly like moved up the charts like real quick. Like I was topping the region, topping the district. I mean, crushing it. They was like, man, how the heck you keep hitting these numbers? And I'm like, it ain't nothing. They was like, so when they first hired me, they were in the interview process. They was like, yo, they was like, you ain't got no sales experience. I said, listen, not on paper. I wasn't about to tell them everything. I said, look, I just sold a few CDs and I DJ'd, so I understand self-market. You know what I'm saying? So now I was just like, listen, just give me one shot. I promise you, I'll be one of the best people ever. Quickly, after about 6 months, ended up being offered management, but I was gonna make less money. So, you know, so I didn't take that. So I switched my hustle. You know what I'm saying? I switched my hustle. And then I thank God because I got checked one time, man, by this thug, man. And so, and this was back when I sold DVDs, right? And so I was wrestling with, should I stop selling DVDs because it's illegal, or should I keep selling DVDs? Yo, what's good? So I'm like, should I stop selling DVDs or should I keep selling DVDs? Because I wasn't hurting nobody. And I had this one lady that I sold to, you know, God rest her soul, she passed away. But she was like, oh, you got an honest hustle. You ain't hurt nobody, because I was telling you about selling drugs and how that hurts the person. Hey, I appreciate that. Yeah, I actually wrote a book called The Desired Marriage. So I'm going to be relaunching that soon. So nobody ever got married with the intention of getting a divorce. So, but I was just talking about, you know, like where I came from and what happened. So with me selling DVDs, right? So I was like wrestling with, should I, but if you message me, it's only $22. I'll autograph the copy and just need your address and I'll send it to you. You get a personal copy. So I'm getting them out now before this thing go viral, so you can have a personal copy signed by me. So I know God gonna take that thing off. I'm gonna give him all the glory. So I'm like, you know, thinking like, yeah. So I'm thinking like, you know, like I'm like, I was wrestling back and forth. Like, should I sell DVDs or shouldn't I? Right. So, and then I had stopped, and then I had got back into it. You know what I'm saying? Of selling the DVDs, right? So then, this deacon was like, yeah, man, you can keep selling DVDs or whatever like that. Cool peoples, you know what I'm saying? Good man. I still respect them today, right? I appreciate the follow, man. So I'm like, man, I'm like, listen, like, and so I was wrestling with that, right? So this thug, right, comes on my Facebook page, right? He's a music creator. That's what's up. So, So this thug comes on my page, right? So I'm always talking about God, everything. I'm promoting God, right? So he come to my page like, yo, how you gonna be talking about God, man? And you doing illegal stuff, selling DVDs, right? So I'm like, so look, I go to this dude page like, yo, bro, who you talking to? Like, you old fake thug, like, you know what I'm saying? I went in like, I know you ain't trying to talk to me like you gonna sit here and talk to me like that? And you doing this? Like, got the bandana and stuff like that, you know? So I'm like, I get done like chewing this dude out, like, man, say all of that. And I'm like, bam, I typed all of that and said that right. So I come back, right? So then, I appreciate the share. So then I come back, right? And God, like, what you doing? I'm like, what you mean what I'm doing? I'm like, listen, you saw what he said? Like, literally, like, he ain't gonna talk about me like that. I don't know who he think I am. Now, mind you, I ain't never carried no gun. I ain't never shot no gun, you know. But I ain't no punk, because I was raised to fight, you know what I'm saying? If need be. And my mom's was like, one time I was about to get jumped, and mom's was like, you better go out there and fight. I'm like, they trying to jump me. So, and understand, like, living in Chicago, so like I would go up there like every summer. So, and I learned, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so growing up, I wasn't no punk, so I ain't care. You know what I'm saying? So God was like, nah, I sent him. I'm like, you sent him? I'm like, you, out of all people, you sent him? You sent him to come correct me? Are you serious? So anyway, so I'm like, all right, God, cool. So then I apologized. I went back after I had a conversation with God, and God was like, God gave me a choice. He said if you stop selling DVDs illegally, he said you'll never be broke a day in your life. Now watch this. I have been close. I have been super close, but I've never been broke, man. Listen, I just had my van repossessed. Listen, this month, no, last month. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I got my van repossessed last month. It's a whole story. There was things on the thing that I didn't sign, all types of things. So the bank was in cahoots. The people that sold it to me was in cahoots. You know what I'm saying? The dealership. So, listen, I'm like, so I apologize, right? And God was like, if you stop selling DVDs illegally, you'll never be broke a day in your life. So I was like, okay, God, I trust you. So there was times when money was tight, and I was like, I could just sell DVDs and just make this money like quick, like flip. Like I remember 2013, one of them years, I made $22,000 selling DVDs and CDs, literally. Like, and so I was like, how that's gonna look if I'm preaching or if I'm speaking somewhere, talking about God, and I'm like, yo, on the microphone, like, look, I got that Spider-Man 8 in the back, and I got that X-Men 10, right? So I had to really trust God, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I did, man. So that's why I'm about to promote this book, man. So I was like, listen, I was like, man, I can't be doing that. Like, I'm like, you know what? Like, how am I gonna really trust God, man? And despite all of this, right? So I'm like, all right. So then I started trusting God like more, and God was challenging my faith in that moment. You know what I'm saying? Because it came tight, and so I started to get tempted, right? So I sold all my equipment. I sold my duplicator. Like, you could just put one in there, and it would make 5, like, or 7, like that, like in minutes. You know what I'm saying? I remember the movie Obsession with Beyonce. I made $1,800 off of that movie alone. Now, mind you, I'm selling DVDs $5, $10, $20. So like I made a whole list. Like, and I tell you, like, I did that thing like it was business modified. Like, it was 1 for 5, 3 for 10 DVDs, or 4 or 8 for 20. And this was how CDs was too. I did 1 for 5, 3 for 10, 8 for 20. And when I tell you I was crushing them because $20 added up. I really didn't want $5. So I got that from the movie business model. You ever go to the movies and you get popcorn, right? And so you see they got the big popcorn, they got this small popcorn, and it ain't really that much difference. You know what I'm saying? So the objective is to get you to buy the bigger popcorn. But if you want to buy the smaller popcorn, they understand that. So you're like, well, why not just 50 cents or $1 more? You know what I'm saying? That you just do that. You know what I'm saying? So that's some karma. Yeah, definitely. So that's what I meant. And look, I actually teach people how to get their credit better. I help people with their credit, all of that. So I switched my hustle up. I'm doing things. So my book, I'm about to promote it. So like I'm about to go at Kevin Samuels. There's some things that I disagree with. You know what I'm saying? So, but I understand him though. You know what I'm saying? So I value people's opinions, but you know what I'm saying? If it disagrees with like the Bible, or if it disagrees with what, you know what I'm saying? Like this book. So like, give you an example. So he said this one woman, right? So she was celibate for, the woman was celibate. She had 2 kids, but she was waiting until marriage to have sex, right?
So, all right.
I know who that is. So she was waiting till marriage to have sex, right? So Kevin Samuels was like, what? You need to give that pussy away. You need to be giving it away. And I'm like, ho, like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, for sure. I remember you. So, you see, I followed you. So, look, I'm always gonna be humble anyway. So, I'm like, that's not good that if she just give it away, because guess what? How many women did just gave it away, right? That don't make a husband or a man marry them. And do you want that type of marriage anyway? You know what I'm saying? It's actually, and so what happens is people go to the world for advice. Now, don't get me wrong. Like there's some things that I can agree with that Kevin Samuels talks about, right? But the Bible says seek wise counsel. So when you don't seek wise counsel, think about it. You got a Facebook page, right? Go on there and put your relationship status up there. Like, oh, I'm struggling in my relationship. What should I do? You will get a multitude of counselors. Everybody will go on there, will say something. Well, this is what you should do. This is what you should do. You shouldn't do this. So with that being said, who do you go with? Who do you believe? You know what I'm saying? So I'm telling her, I would tell her, listen, the men that come in your life that wants to have sex and just have sex alone and don't want to wait, that's somebody you shouldn't be with. Now, yes, we had temptation, you know what I'm saying? But a man should be able to respect the woman's wishes and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So if she take that advice and run with it, she's not going to get the husband that she wants. She might get married, but is that truly really the husband that you want? You know what I'm saying? So that's why when I come at him, and people going to be like, oh, so somebody coming at him? Because we need people that really is sound, you know what I'm saying, that want to make different, you know what I'm saying, that want difference in our, in our community. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'll give you an example, right? So watch this. I appreciate it. So watch this. I actually counsel the mother of my children. Now watch this. I don't even call her baby mama, because it has a negative connotation. So I counsel the mother of my children and her husband, because I'm going to listen. I want change. Like, I want to mentor NBA, NFL athletes, but I want to deal with, oh man, I got baby daddy drama. I got baby mama drama. Listen, send me that check. I promise you, I had years of experience of trying to work with this woman. You know what I'm saying? Me and her got 5 children. You know what I'm saying? So when somebody be like, man, how should I trust you? Or how do I know you? Like, you ain't got 1 million followers. You ain't got 1 million subscribers. Listen, how many people can say they counsel the mother of their children? How many people can say that they counsel her and her husband? I literally got a picture that I'm going to put up. But I counseled that, right? So I learned that, and I told him, right? So I was telling him, listen, I know society says we ain't supposed to get along. We ain't supposed to be cool. I said, but let's create a new normal. I said, look, if you need me, call me. We can talk. I'm a counselor. You know, but I know sometimes that can be a conflict of interest between people. But me going with the Bible, it says pray for your enemies, even your temporary ones. That's what I call them, temporary enemies. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, listen, whatever, you know what I'm saying, you need, I'm here, man. So I'll give you an example. One time he called me. So now, mind you, the kids live with me, but they went up there for the summer, right? So I have a majority of the time, right? I don't take them for child support. And whenever she can, I say, listen, help out or whatever. So they went up there. They ain't been up there a month. This dude called me like, yo, Lo, you need to come get your kids. First response, ain't them your kids too? He said, yeah, watch this. I set the standard. Me and him talked for over an hour that day. I told him, now watch this, I let him know, listen, me and you ain't gonna have tea and crumpets every Sunday, but just know that I'm here for you. Like, if you need to talk, we cool. Like, they came down for our son graduated, right? So, which would be his stepson. So they came down for the graduation, high school, and then my mom had her birthday same day, right? So we go out to eat. Now, mind you, me and her got 5 kids, and then there's a middle child named AJ. And so that's Drew is the dad. And then you got her and her husband. So they got Dee Dee. She's about 4. So mind you, seven kids, me, my mom, and him and his wife, right? Which is the mother of my child. Watch this. I paid for the dinner. God said pay for everything. I paid for it. I said, bruh, just take care of the tip. And he was just like, oh, cool. I was like, cool, man. Because I wanted him to know, listen, we like family, man. Because one thing I understand, listen, if they child suffers, guess what? It's going to hit my children, then they going to suffer, and then it's going to ultimately hit me. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm like, listen, this is what needs to change. We got to create a new normal. You know what I'm saying? And then me and him was cool, so me and him talked. And I told him, let me say this to one of my playlists, like this song. Right, let's just do what the word says, right? And that's what I was doing because, man, listen, when I tell you there was times I did not want to be nice, I mean, I was heated. So, now mind you, I went back to school, right, to finish my degree at the age of 31, right? So she took the kids and, you know, she wanted to go be with this dude or whatever. And his name is Drew. So she ended up, she wasn't pregnant yet. So I'm calling to talk to my kids, right? I'm calling to I'm texting. And so this one time, bro, I got heated. So she called, so I texted her. I'm like, listen, I just called to check how my kids is doing. I want to talk to him. She said, I don't want him to get mad. Bro, listen, when I tell you I was hot. I was like, are you serious? And I don't even use this term that much. But I was like, who is this nigga? I don't care. Listen, I was hot. The Bible says you're allowed to get angry, but sin not. When I tell you I was hot, I'm like, man, literally, I'm like, you know what? Now, look, I just started praying for this dude. I started praying for her. I'm like, let me crucify this flesh, right? So when I tell you, I'm like, you know what? When I tell you, no, this time, this is Drew. So Drew is the second baby daddy. The one in between me and her husband. So her husband she's the husband that she has now. That's not him. So I'm talking about the one, right? So the one in between, right? So this is the first one after us. No, don't worry. That's good. That's cool. So watch this. This is the one after this, right, though, bro? So I'm like, are you serious? So then, when I tell you, I just really just fully let, let me sit there and follow you, bro. So, I just followed you. So watch this. So when I tell you, like, God had a hold of this thing, like he truly had a hold of this thing, because Thanks for the follow back. So listen, and I remember I had the kids, right, for like Christmas and New Year's, right? So you got to bring them back, right? So I brought them back because they lived about an hour and 15 minutes away. So from where I lived at, right? So when I tell you, she called me like, where you at? I'm like, I'm about to leave, so it only take, hour and 15 minutes, so I'm going to be up there quick, right? So she kept calling me. She kept texting me like every 10 to 15 minutes. I'm like, yo, what is you doing? Stop nagging. Stop. I'm like, what do you want? I just want to know how far you are. I'm like, you know how far I'm out. I told you, stop. It don't take that long. I'm like 50 minutes. I'm like 40 minutes. I'm like, girl, would you stop? I said, what is it? What is the problem? Because you ain't never called me like this. So she's like, you know how my anxiety is? I'm like, girl, listen, what is it? I'm almost there. She like, well, my boyfriend is here. And I'm like, I don't care about this nigga. Like, that's what I said then. I'm like, I don't care. What got to do with me? I said, look. She's like, I don't want y'all to fight. I said, look, I'm going to put it like this. Listen, I ain't about that drama, but if he want that smoke, he going to get this work today. And I promise you, if dude would have came outside on some rah-rah type, he would have caught these hands. So like when they be like, oh, don't try me, try Jesus. I was like that, you know what I'm saying? At that point, you know what I'm saying? So, and only because, I'm at a stronger place than I am right now. But when I tell you, dude was going to catch these hands, and he was going to catch these hands, watch this, for everything. I'm talking about everything that got on my nerves, everything that frustrated me. I was going to beat the brakes off this dude. You know what I'm saying? I ain't care. I was going to let everything out. I'm like, if he come outside on some rah-rah, and I wasn't even going to fight him because I play football. I was literally going to go and pick up this dude and slam him as hard as I can on his neck. Wouldn't have been no fight. Unless he would have got up. And I was just like, so I had to pray, right? I said, look, I'm not going to fight unless he come outside on some, trying to talk or whatever like that, man. I promise you. Because ain't nobody going to punk me in front of my kids. That's what I was saying, right? So I'm like, nah, bro. You going to get that, right? So when I tell you, right? She's like, I don't want y'all to fight. I'm like, don't worry about it. We cool. So I get up there. She come outside like, I just don't want y'all to fight. I said, look, I'm not going to fight him. I said, look, like I said, as long as he'll come outside, no rah-rah, tell him to stay in the house. He cool. Like, don't even come outside. Like, so I'm like, listen, just chill. And then she's like, I don't want y'all to fight. I said, look, I'm not even going to fight this dude. I said, look, I'm not even going to go in the house. I'm just going to drop the kids off right here, drop their stuff out. I said, y'all carry it in there. Give me a kiss. Daddy love y'all. I'll see y'all the next go round. So I'm taking the stuff out, you know what I'm saying? Because they got all their Christmas gifts, because they had to take them with them because they wasn't going to stay. They only was at my house for the holidays. So what's the point in having the gifts and keeping them there, right? So she like, but I don't want y'all to fight. I said, listen, her name is Tor. Her name is Couture. I said, Tor, stop. I'm like, listen, just chill. I'm not even talking to you. Like, you ain't even of importance right now. Like, don't say nothing to me, right? So I'm trying to talk to my kids, get all the stuff out. She like, but I don't want y'all to fight. I said, Tori, shut up. Don't say another word. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, your mouth, you always get something to say, shut up, right? So then she says it one more time, but I don't want y'all to fight. And I heard God say, go in the house and tell him Happy New Year. I said, oh, you don't want us to fight? So, I'm animated, right? So I'm like, oh, you don't want us to fight? I'm about to go in the house right now. And I'm like how I am talking to you, right? So her anxiety is really like through the roof. I'm like, yep, go in the house right now. Right now, since you got something to say, because I told you to shut up. I'm going in the house. So I go in the house. I'm like, hey, what's up, Drew? I'm like, hey. He's like, what's up? I said, Happy New Year. I said, look, let me let you know something. If I call, if I text, it's just about my kids. I can care less about you and her relationship. So listen, don't come to me with no drama. I ain't trying to get back with her. You can have her. I'm the one that brought her to you. Because I was the one that actually drove the truck up there. So when I tell you, I'm like, listen, you can have her. I said, look, Happy New Year. Look, I'm happy for y'all. That's it. This dude was like, oh man, you cool. I'm like, bro, yes, I am cool. Man of integrity. Cool. I left. She's sitting over there. Eyes big. Mouth drop. I said, yeah, and you have a nice Happy New Year as well, too. Left. When I tell you God gave me peace, it was mad peace. Because I already knew who he was. See, when God said in 1 Corinthians 4 and 5 that God will expose the motives of people's hearts. So what happens, we know the scripture says, what happens in the dark comes to the light. So this was back. And I remember taking her home, like taking her back to her own hometown in Cleveland, Ohio. So her going up there, you know, I knew that we were done because I'm like, and I wasn't gonna go back and forth. I'm like, I'm not about to be going. I know you want to go be with somebody else because it was her birthday in September, right? So I had like a nice thing planned for her and everything, and she wanted to go out of town. I'm like, okay. So I saw where it was going. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, this is a done deal. So then I drove her up there in November. So I'm driving the U-Haul truck, right? So I see this car and it stops like, skirt. And he gets out and he stands and looks at the truck like, so I'm looking like, who is this dude? Like, who is this? What is he looking at? Like, I don't know him. I knew a few people from Cleveland, but I'm like, I don't know this dude. So that's when God said, that's who she talking to. I said, oh. So I get to the crib, right? So we drop her off, right? So we go in there. I say what's up to her mom, because her mom is very respectful of me and everything, and she called me her son-in-law. So I call her mom. So then this dude, he comes up there. Let me tell you this. So the grandma, well, her mom was dating his brother. And she was dating him. But when he got there, they like hugged on the side, and her sister hugged on the side like, oh, he family. Yeah, he family, all right. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, so they like, oh yeah, he like family and stuff like that. I'm like, cool. But I already knew what it was, because I'm like, cool, I ain't gonna even, so I already knew who this dude was. So mind you, you know what I'm saying? So when I left, I'm cool, like, and I just went on back to school, you know what I'm saying? And so the thing that really hit me was like my kids was gone, man. Like, it felt like, who is that? Like when I tell you, I lasted probably like 17 days, man. And I got on my knees like, God, if you take this shame and guilt away, like, I literally will like do whatever you want me to do. Like when I tell you I surrendered because I wanted a new change, man. I had to get all that shame and guilt out of me because I felt like I failed my children because I was like a pillar in my community. People looked up to me. They like, oh man, you a good father, man. You a good role model. You always got your kids. Like when I ain't had no babysitter, my kids came with me. Like my kids came when I DJ'd. Like they mom wasn't there, like she was out doing whatever or she was out working whatever. So I just had to do what I had to do. But then, as years went by, right? So his son, AJ, you know what I'm saying, used to call me dad because that's all he heard his kids call him dad. And so his sisters, the siblings, called me father, so that's all he called me dad. So I was like, it's cool. So I remember the one time he was down with me for the summer where I live at now in Bowlesburg, Pennsylvania. So then he like he called like, yo, what's up, Lo? Now mind you, at this time she didn't got with her husband, but they weren't married. You know what I'm saying? So the AJ was like 7, so 7 or 6. So he called me like, yo, can I talk to my son? I'm like, sure, right? So the Bible says, pray for your enemies, do good to those that persecute you. You know what I'm saying? Love your enemies and stuff. So, you know, so he called like, can I talk to my son? I'm like, sure. Next day, can I talk to my son? I'm like, sure. So he called one more time, like, can I talk to my son? I'm like, sure. So he like, yo, Loke, man, I want to thank you. I'm like, for what? He like, you let me talk to my kids with no problem. Now, I could have been like, Negro, don't call my phone. Your son gonna be taken care of. Remember how you was doing me? Yeah, I'm taking care of your son, boy. I could have been like that. I could have been fleshly. You know what I'm saying? But I listen to the Holy Spirit. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? I'm not gonna put him through what I've been through. You know what I'm saying? And understanding that the Bible says we wrestle not against flesh and blood. So this dude being influenced by demon spirits, his flesh, whatever, right? And society saying like, oh, we ain't supposed to get along, right? So he like, yo, can I call you big bro? I'm like, sure, man. Like, that's what it's about. Because what I told him, I said, listen, I'm never going to take your place as a father. I said, he only calls me dad because he had 5 siblings call me dad. So what do you think he gonna do? He gonna do what they do. Just like when kids is small and you eating something, they want what you eating. Or they say the words that you say. I said, so don't take it disrespectfully. I said, but understand this. You will always be his father. But listen, you will always be number 1. And I said, guess what? He will not disrespect you in front of me. He will always respect you. And this is what I promised him. I said, listen, if I got your child and you want to see him, you can see him. So, me and him, and he said after that, he said, man, I can honestly say you're a man of integrity. See, all the lies that she done told him, the people that told him about how I was, I'm cool. See, we ain't even supposed to defend our character. That's God's job. That's what it says in Isaiah 54, verse 17, the NIV version. You know what I'm saying? God said he'll take care of that, right? It says what? No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Every tongue that comes against you shall be condemned. That is the heritage of the saints, and the vindication will come from God. So, come to find out, you know what I'm saying? He was cool. So then, you know, like I let him know, like, look, I said, I know society. I hate it with my favorite one. Listen, understand if you need me, I'm here. But don't think we gonna have tea and crumpets every Sunday. My mom be like, why you always saying tea and crumpets? I said, I don't know, but it just fit well. So listen, I'm like, look, we gonna have tea and crumpets every Sunday, but if you need me, I'm here, right? So then, you know, he ends up calling me like, man, like, look, I'm trying to see my son or whatever. So I'm like, all right, cool, right? So I'm like calling Tora. I'm like, Tora, you know, he want to see his son. She like, well, he don't be in his life and stuff. I'm like, you still gotta get this man an opportunity to do better. At least not. I think that the boy still need his father. So I had to bring the kids back, and I had them. I had to bring them back because I watched them for. So her and her husband went on their honeymoon, like type thing. They went on that, and it was Mother's Day, so they went and did that. So I'm like, you know, I had to bring them back. So I was like, listen, I was like, I'll meet you in Furrow. And so Furrow is like, I'm like 2.5 hours away from Furrow. And so like, but Cleveland is the midway point because she lives in Michigan now. So, and I'm like, listen, I'm trying to get to this thing because I'm trying to get to my goddaughter's, which is my cousin, her graduation party. So I'm like, what time you gonna meet me? And I'm like, you never meet me on time. And I'm like, listen, if I got to go to Cleveland, I'm taking him to see his dad. So she like, well, I'm like, I'm gonna be there. I'm like, I'm gonna leave at this. I'm like, you're not about to leave early in the morning. You're not gonna do that because I don't like going somewhere and leaving like late in the afternoon. I like leaving like early in the morning. So like, I'm trying to hit like, at that time I was trying to be up to Cleveland by 12 and then come back to my goddaughter's graduation party. So I called Drew. I'm like, yo, Drew, man. I said, I'll share the video. But I actually got this one up there, but I'll share it. And I said, Drew, I said, listen, man, what time you get off work? He's like, I get off at 11:30. I'll be home around there. I said, listen, I'll be at your house at 12 o'clock. So I literally get to his house at 12 o'clock. Man, this dude starts crying, happy to see his son, man. He was like, yo, look, man, I appreciate that, man. I said, I told you, if you didn't see your son, I'm here. So guess what? I'm actually the liaison between him and our children's mother. I'm the liaison, right? So then his girlfriend at the time was like, yeah, I'm tired of her. She better let us see him. Now, she'll fight, and the mother of my children, she'll fight, right? So, and I'm like, okay, God, you got me up here for a reason. What is it? So God, like, listen, I want you to, Matthew 5:9 says, blessed are the peacemakers. So I'm like, okay. So I sat down with his girlfriend, like, listen, you can't be going against the grain. You can't be trying to fight her. I said, because at some point, she's not going to just bring him. Y'all both will be fighting him for what? She just ain't going to bring him. I said, then what? Now, your boyfriend is going to be upset because he can't see his child. So I sat down, counseled her, counseled them. So then, eventually, the mother of my children come with her husband. And when I tell you, remember I told you how the face of the mother of my children was? So she was shocked because now she at this house, all of her baby daddies is there. She didn't know what to do. She didn't know we was going to fight. You know what I'm saying? Well, that's my daughter, so I'm going to lie. Say hi.
Hi.
So, yeah, that's my youngest daughter, Samari. So, now, mind you, she don't know what she going to do. Because her husband there, her other baby daddy there, and I'm there, right? So I was like, yeah, she was like, I said, just relax. Thank you. I'll tell her you said that. So I'm like, listen, I said, look, just be cool. I said, I got it. I done took care of it. I said, before y'all came, I talked to her and set some things in order so that we can all be at peace. We should be at peace. So at that time, they ended up having, they played Tonk, smoke a little bit of weed. They played Tonk for money. So I don't smoke. But again, I did what God told me to do. It was peaceful. They got to meet each other under those conditions and stuff like that. Everybody there, they chilled. After I was done, I ended up leaving, you know what I'm saying, and going back home. And I told her, I said, look, this is how it's supposed to be. We supposed to all be able to get along. I said, because at the end of the day, it's not about us anymore. It's about these kids. Because if these kids suffer, it's going to hit us. Those kids are connected to everybody. So I had to set that thing in order, and I let him know, like, listen, man, I said, give me a picture, to Drew, right? I took a picture with Drew, and because I'm going to use that to let people know, like, this is what I do. And so, and I asked Drew, I said, Drew, when's the last time you seen your son, man? He said, it's been over a year, man. Like, and I had to let her know, like, listen, we got to do better. You know what I'm saying? Now understanding that this is the part of my purpose. Now I had no idea because this is where I had to defeat depression because I'm thinking, I got 5 kids by this woman. I'm thinking we gonna get married. Literally. I'm doing what I can, changing. I remember we wrote down a list what we wanted to change from each other. And I'm telling her, and then I changed these things. And then it still ain't good enough. And I'm like, maybe I ain't the problem. Maybe you the problem. She was like, I know I'm a good woman. And so I learned, devil life is in the power of the tongue. You know what I'm saying? And Ephesians 4:29, do not let any corrupt word come out your mouth. So Holy Spirit told me to say, sometimes 2 good people just don't fit together. So I didn't want to talk bad about the mother of my children. And I still don't. I still show honor and respect. I have love for this woman, but I'm not in love with her. It's a difference. And I let her husband know that as well. So I'm like, you are a good woman. I said, you're just not the woman for me. And so that's why I was depressed, because I was trying to make this work and stuff like that. And, you know, so I'm just like, man, I'm not going to be with nobody. Listen, and you cheating on me, I don't care how many kids we got. So once I stopped, I had to realize that I deserve better. And guess what? She deserved better as well, too. So if she wants somebody where he cheating and she cheating, y'all can have each other. So when I learned that that's what the definition of what God was saying, and I had to realize that one day when God told me that, I went to the altar and they have like prayer before, you know, the preaching. And I went to the altar thanking God. Like, thank you for letting me know the thing, right? Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him and he will direct your path. See, I was trying to lean on my own understanding. People were like, man, y'all got kids together? Put on some blessed oil on my back. So they like, y'all got 5 kids together? Y'all supposed to be together. And so God told me this. He said, if everybody's telling you to go left, but I tell you to go right, which way should you go? I was like, right. Because it seemed right to marry her. We had 5 kids, right? It seemed like we were supposed to be together. People were like, man, she gave you 5 kids? You ain't gonna marry her? I'm like, y'all don't see what goes on behind closed doors. Because I'm not one to talk about a lot of stuff. I'm like, y'all don't see all of that? Y'all ain't see all the drama that I was in. Trying to make it work, you know what I'm saying? So, I'm like, you know what? So at the altar, right? This minister comes up, evangelist. And she, you know, we had to meet in church. And God is telling me what family is. I want y'all to co-parent and set a standard, set a precedent. I said, okay. So at the altar, God is telling me that, right? So this person, the evangelist that comes to me, because I grew up, you know, with her son. Her sons were my friends. She's ordained to be your wife. Who told you that? Was it God? Was it a demon? Was it a spirit? Was it your flesh? Was it you? Because you saw me crying, that you wanted to say something to comfort my tears. I was crying because God told me what it was. He finally told me what family was for me and why he allowed me to go through everything I went through. Because I would lean on my own understanding, trying to force something, trying to make this work. So I just pray for them. And so this is what I do. It's almost like a filter, like we got a water filter. So if you don't turn on the filter, you're going to get that type of water, right? But God, exactly, right? So I turned on the filter. Exactly, they do be looking outside and then be trying to say something. And so we have people that believe that. That's why you got to have a personal relationship with God. This is why you got to have discernment. So when God told me that, I said, okay, God. I said, I hear you. We supposed to co-parent. Now, mind you, listen, I'm like, cool, right? So then I realized I got it. And so I struggled with that for years, because when she would come back and, you know, if I was in a relationship, I was faithful. But if I wasn't with nobody, there'd be times, you know, she would come see the kids and I would have a majority of the time, you know, and before she moved, you know, and she would come see him and I would go in the room and go to sleep. And I'm like, listen, when you done, you can leave, right? So I go to sleep. She up with the kids, you know, if it's on the weekend. And she come in late night, you know, so I'm sleeping, right? So she get to touching me. And just to be honest, sometimes I couldn't resist, you know, and it just happened. I'm just like, so, and sometimes I would see pictures of us and the kids, and it would make me want to get back with her or try to work with her, or you know what? It's going exactly that flesh. And so I'm like, man, like maybe it can work this time. And so another lesson God was teaching me. I had to listen, you can't keep coming over no more. Because you're going to try to, I said, you got to come see the kids like in the daytime. You know what I'm saying? Or if you come, once you're done, that's it. We rest on your.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm like, listen, like, what? What you disagree with? So at that point, I'm like thinking like we supposed to be together, like it's gonna work out. So I was dealing with a soul tie. So I would see the pictures and it would play on my memories and play on the flesh about like, y'all need to be, y'all can work it out. That's why I kept going back and forth. So I said, God, how do I get past her? How do I get past this? Because I'm obviously emotionally connected. Like, and then I'm like, you know, we had good sex. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, how do I do that? So God said, get rid of all the pictures that, when the man find the wife. Right. So when the man findeth the wife, he findeth the good thing and obtaineth favor. But God says he is not the author of confusion, right? Now, Genesis 2:18, right? It says that it's not good for man to be alone. God will create him a helpmeet, right? So somebody that will, or NLT version or somebody just right for you, right? But there was too much confusion, right? For we know God's not the author of confusion. And it also says, how can two walk unless they agree? Now, I do believe this, that God has a wife and a husband for everybody. But we have the power of choice. I could have married her. I could have forced it. You know, even after AJ, she wanted to come back. That's a whole nother story. But, so I had to give her, I went to her mama. I said, listen, I said, here, you can have all these pictures. Because if you don't take these pictures, I'm going to burn them. Because she saw me like, what you giving these pictures away for? I said, if you don't take them, I'm going to burn them.
You know what I'm saying?
So I'm like, I gave all them pictures, and guess what? Now I was able to fight the flesh better. Because I didn't have them soul ties of missing her. When I thought about her, is that we supposed to get back together? Or when I seen her with the kids, this make me want to like make it work or try again. Cool. So, you know, so God gives us the answers, but we still don't want to accept the reality. Yeah, I didn't want to because of the mindset and where I was at in that soul tie. But once I got with that, and then once I was done, I was done. I still have respect for her, you know. So yeah, exactly. My explanation 5 years ago, I asked God for this man, and God, yeah. And so I said, God, and this is what I said. Look, God, I want who you got for me. And watch this. I was married before, so my first wife, watch this, was the power of choice, because I ignored signs. So you know, and you know, but I thank God she cheated. You know what I'm saying? And so. And I'm like, and I said after that, I said, look, I said, God, I'm not getting married again until you make it plain. Until you let me know that this is her. You know, and people was like, oh, I think he's supposed to get with your baby mama. And I was like, listen, only way I'm getting back with her is if God frees time, come down on earth like, listen, I'm God. You see everybody froze? Take her back. You know, so I'm like, so understand God said that God beg God for this man. So you find the white gods for you equally yoked. Right. It'll be equally yoked. And that's what I wanted, because it says, how can two walk unless they agree? Now watch this. One day, now mind you, I'm vibing with gospel music, right? So mind you, I come pick her up from work, right? Vibing with gospel music. She comes and gets in, and she like, could you please turn that music off? I'm like, why? She like, because it's giving me a headache. I'm like, this is the music that will actually help you not have a headache anymore. You know what I'm saying? It was irritating them demons and spirits. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, God could actually, if you keep pressing God, God can give it to you. And then, yeah, you got to deal with a whole bunch of mess. So, so this is the mother of my children at that time. I'm just like, and she got in, I'm like, this music can actually help your headache go away. Like, I didn't did it before. I didn't try it. And yes. So I was just like, when she said that, I was just like, yeah, something ain't right. Like, something ain't right. Like, this ain't right. So, yeah, so I'm just like, listen, I'm like, look, I gotta be done with this. You know what I'm saying? So now here's the part, right? So when she went up there and she went with AJ, right? But with Drew, she got with Drew. So this is the middle one. So when she got with Drew, I actually was done. And I gave the pictures away. So there was none of that, right? So she gets pregnant. And here's, watch this. She gets pregnant. So in the and she sends me my oldest boys, 9 and 8. Then later in the trimester, she says my youngest son, 3. So at that time, my girls were living with their mom. So when I tell you, I'm like, look, it's been 4 months. Like, can I see my daughters? This chick tells me no. I'm like, wait, what? No. This is what she said. She says, I'm not letting you see your girls until you get back with me. Wait, huh? I said, ho. First of all, you fired me. I'm like, I was trying to work it with you, and you wanted to. I said, nah, we not going to do that. Again, I was heated. Right? I'm like, are you serious? So she's like, oh, what? You don't want to accept my child? I said, look, I accept your child. He ain't got nothing to do with it. I said, you and his dad made a conscious decision. Morning, night, somewhere in between, y'all did what y'all did. And guess what? He became as a result of it. He came out. So I ain't got no problem with that. You know. Yeah, you could definitely feel drained, so. Yeah, so I was just like, that's crazy. So I had to go into God again, right? So I'm going to God like, God, you got to help me. Because this woman, like, you know, this is crazy. Like, I just want to see my kids. Like, I didn't sign up for this. I said, you want us to co-parent, right? So I still had to be nice to her. So, you know, after that, she was like, oh, you just don't want to be with me. I said, listen, we done. I just want to see my girls. What else do you want from me? Listen, I'm not trying to go back that route. I'm like, listen. So then I was still asking, you know, could I see my girls? No. So I'm just like, so kid you not, one of my friends from back home who's married, you know what I'm saying, sister in Christ and went to the same church. She like, listen, I couldn't sleep last night. I kept thinking about you. Like, please tell me you can DJ. So she wanted me to DJ a father-daughter dance. Now look at this. God is impressed on this girl's heart to get me to DJ. She was like, I can't even sleep. For sure, bro. We'll get back on, man. So I get up on this, blessings to you. So I get up on the thing and I'm like, this woman, like, I need you to DJ. Please tell me is you free. I could not stop thinking about you, right? So I look at my calendar. I'm like, yeah, I'm free. Now, mind you, you know what I'm saying? At this point of DJing, right? About the DJ, they make the flyer. Now, mind you, I still ain't seen my girls. So then, the mother of my children called. Like, hey, I seen on the thing that you're DJing. I'm like, yeah. She like, you want to see your girls? I was like, really, God? Really? You let me do all that worrying and all that stressing, and then you do this? And he said, the word says, I'll use the foolish things to confound the wise. So, so God do what we ask and show us when we wait on him and obey and turn everything. Yeah, it is better his way. Kyle said, God, please remove him. I don't wish death on anybody. Please let him leave. This is not what I want. Sorry I didn't listen. Yeah, that's the thing. Like when we fully trust God, we gotta trust God past how we feel, past what we see, and even past what we think, because he knows us better than what we know ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And so I had to fully trust God in that situation concerning the children and everything like that, and I just was like, I just wanted like God's glory. Like I wanted to hear what God had to say. I wanted God to get the blessings through this, and so I really had to really trust him. And it wasn't easy, but it was necessary. You know what I'm saying? This peace it passed all understanding. Right. Oh yeah, definitely. When we when we do that, so you know what I'm saying? So, I had to do that, just really fully just trust God. Like, I'm like, okay, God, like, I'm going to fully trust you now. Like, I'm going to surrender. Like, I tried it, like, trying to take this woman to church or trying to get this woman from church. And I'm just like, God, you're going to have to help me. So, but I learned that I had to work on some things before God could even bring anybody in my life. I had to work on how to be cordial with the mother of my children and how to be cordial with, the other child's father, and even her husband and stuff like that, because I don't want to deal with the drama and stuff like that. Like, I want us all to get along. Like, I had a vision of being married and, we all being together at like a function. And everybody is cool. Like, if the kids graduate, like we all cool. That's it. Also, being able to, see that this thing through and actually, speak about it, talk about it. I even asked them, like, listen, I'm going to have y'all on my podcast, so we can talk and we can see that, how to go about this thing. And, they can ask questions or answers and, how it is and just like things like that. So understanding that, this is what it's about, like, of us as co-parenting. And so that's what I had to learn how to do. So, and I'm telling you, it's so much better. I'm at peace, like, what I'm saying? And even when I wrote my book, the mother of my children was like, I better not be in it. I said, oh, you in it. Like, what I'm saying? She was like, well, I want my money. I said, you listen, I want my cut. I said, you ain't getting a cut. I said, but here's what you do. I said, I hear God speaking. I said, write your own book. I said, I'm going to give you the title. Call it, I Got 3 Baby Daddies. One is my husband. I Just Want Peace. I said, that title alone? I said, and guess what? Because you're the mother of my children, I'll endorse it. That way you can have your own money. There you go. That's better than you getting a cut. You can have your own money. But what I love about it is her and her husband actually bought 2 of my books. You know what I'm saying? So I thank God for that. Her husband started reading it and, he was like, man, this is some real, this is some real, what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, like this is real. Like, this is what it's supposed to be about. You know what I'm saying? So, man, like when I tell you, like, I'm just grateful and blessed that I listen to God and like, okay, God, like, I'm listening to what you saying, like, and trusting his will, you know what I'm saying? Because he knows better than what we think we know and what we do know about ourselves. And so it allowed us to have that. And guess what? I'm about to get paid. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to get paid to teach people how to deal with baby mama drama, baby daddy drama. Teach people how to co-parent well. And I'm going to go in there and I'm going to sit down. So, has anybody been having a headache? Like, I feel in the back of my head. Sometimes I can feel pain. It's not my pain, but I rebuke in the name of Jesus. So, broken people. Yeah, and it is. And so, what up, son? My son, no. So, but understanding that, you know, I'm only healed from my last relationship I healed from. But that's cool as long as you fully healed. Um,
Hello?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
What's good with you?
Shoot, none was just doing my new book. I'm going to relaunch it. It's called The Desired Marriage. So I was just talking about
It's
some
called
things. Go ahead.
the Desired Marriage.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nobody ever got married with the intentions of getting a
Wait,
divorce.
Alexa, stop. Alexa, stop. Now say what?
I was saying nobody ever got married with the intentions of getting a divorce. So that's why I wrote it.
Alexa, stop. Alexa, so I'm serious. Now say it.
I was saying nobody ever got married with the intentions of getting a divorce.
Oh, I'm single.
You want to get married?
Yes, one day I would love to get married.
Okay. So like it's for single people, it's for married people, and people that want to get married. You know, I teach people how to like what to do, and it prepares you for it. A lot of people want to get married, but they're not prepared for marriage. This is why we have a high divorce rate. You know, so you have any kids? Okay.
Yes. I don't even be saying nothing. When people ask me questions, I normally don't tell them nothing, but I'm vibing with you. I'm listening and I'm talking. Yep.
Yeah, I've just been that person that people feel like, well, that people can feel easily to talk to. So you know what I'm saying? But so yeah, but I actually counsel the mother of my children and her husband. So I counsel their marriage.
Stop it. Stop
Stop
it.
what?
I don't want to hear it.
Why not?
Do you have a new wife?
Well, I'm not married yet, but I have somebody that we're dating now. So
So that's gonna be your wife?
yeah,
You engaged?
not yet.
Okay.
What? What?
I didn't say a word.
I know, but you think of something, so you quiet now. Go ahead, you can say it.
No, I'm not.
No, you're not gonna say it now.
I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna add you. You're gonna add me back. We're gonna add each other just to do that.
All right, I got you.
Okay, make sure that you add me and I'm listening.
Did you see it? It should come up.
Oh, I don't know how to see it like that. I ain't real, whatever. But yeah, I'll know when I get out.
Okay.
So how long have you been dating your girlfriend?
August, maybe about like 4 months. What?
Nothing.
Because you're thinking a lot of stuff. I'm a counselor, so I can tell. So, am I right? You just don't want to say it.
Okay.
What up, bro?
Okay. Nothing.
Am I right or wrong though?
Yep, you're right.
So let me ask you this: if I was single, you would have some more questions for me. Correct me if I'm wrong.
You say you've been dating 4 months?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. How old are you?
Say what?
I said, how old are you?
I'm grown. I already told you too much. I'm good and grown just like you.
I know, but what's your age? I'm 40, so you know.
I'm good and grown. I'm good and grown just like you.
So you 40?
Good and grown.
Yep. Oh, so you don't want to say your age.
Yeah, but I'm good and grown just like you.
Okay, that's cool. You know, some people
It
say what's
ain't
wrong with
bad.
that.
Don't do it like that. It ain't nothing. Yeah.
I know some people just don't want to say their age is cool, but that's good.
Mhm.
So yeah, but just promoting
So,
that. So go ahead.
so you okay with me asking you these questions?
Sure.
Okay, so before your 4 months of dating on the dating scene, how long were you single?
Um, for about, let me see, I'd probably say maybe about like 3 years, and then before that, it'd probably be uh since 2013.
Okay, now watch this. Now, what's the name of your book?
It's called The Desired Marriage.
The Desired Marriage.
So
So,
go ahead.
wait. So, within those previous relationships that you had, did none of them fit with the desired marriage of what you would, right?
Right.
Gotcha. So, how did you come up with what the desired? You've been married before? So now you know what you want. You know what you want. You own it. You know exactly what it is that you want. I don't want you to read the book to me, but can you just tell me one of the most important things that you look for in a woman that that you think as a possibility to be your wife? One of the most important things.
One of the most important things would be her love for God, having a personal relationship with Him, and knowing who the Holy Spirit is. A woman like that, a woman of integrity, that right there. Because that is a foundation that you can build on. So, meaning that if we're having issues, she knows who to go to tell God on.
Amen.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
You better. Okay, I'm listening.
so,
Go on, I'm listening.
so like that, and like, and even me, like I told her, listen, we get married, watch this. I ain't gotta argue with you. I'm gonna just tell God. Because when you want to build something, that's what it is. And I put a video out that there are men that are willing to wait until marriage. Go ahead.
No, I'm speaking. I'm listening.
Okay. And so like that characteristic, a woman's, because listen, it's impossible for a wife to love her husband the way God intended unless because listen, it's impossible for a wife to love her husband the way God intended unless she loved God first.
Amen.
You see what I'm saying? And vice versa too. You see what I'm saying? So with that being said, that love for God, you know what I'm saying? And understanding that, okay, can this woman follow the vision that God has given me? You see what I'm saying? Because like I have 5 children. Is she willing to commit to the vision of us having this blended family with the mother of my children and her husband? You see what I'm saying? Because this is what God impressed on my heart. You know what I'm saying? Because not everybody want to do that. Not everybody want a man with children.
It's going to take a strong mind. It's going to take a strong mind and a good woman.
Right. But see, if she listened to what God says, it ain't going to be that difficult. You see what I'm saying? Because watch this. If God put Adam to sleep, right? It said he put Adam to deep sleep and he pulled out his rib and he created woman, right? So therefore, the rib is supposed to fit. It's like a puzzle piece. It's supposed to fit. It's supposed to fit well. Genesis 2:18, it says, it's not good for man to be alone. I will create him a helpmeet. And God said, turn that around. She's supposed to meet him where he needs help. You see what I'm saying? Other translations say helper or helpmate or helper just right. Does not say soulmate. Soulmate is nowhere near in the Bible. This is why it says, he that finds a wife findeth findeth a good thing, right? And obtain her favor from the Lord. So therefore, watch this. She has to already be married. He can't find no girlfriend. He can't find a woman. He can't find a bad bee. He can't find a chick. He's supposed to find a wife. So you like already married? Yes. She's supposed to already be married to Christ. You see what I'm saying? And then that will allow, because see, I tell people this. This is what I put in my book, an insert. When your husband finds you.
What's your name on here?
Mr. Encouragement.
Okay.
So now if you want a personal copy, it's only $22 and I'll sign it for you and I'll send it to you. But I do have them on Amazon as well too. So I tell people this. When your husband finds you, you want to be a Lifetime movie and not a commercial. Because commercials look good. They pique our mind. You're like, oh, that's nice. But then they go off. So if you're not a wife, you're a commercial. Thank you for that. To God be the glory. But if you are a wife, you are a Lifetime movie. You know that favorite movie that you can watch over and over again? Like Coming to America? You know what I'm saying? Like a movie like that you can watch. And that's what a husband is looking for. When he finds, it says a man. So he wants to see, she's a Lifetime movie that I don't ever want to turn off. That I want to spend the rest of my life with. Because think about that. That's what Adam saw when he saw Eve. He said, woman, right? Like, wow, man. That's what he saw. He didn't see 9,000 women. He didn't have all these choices that all these men have today. Man, you know, she got to have this, she got to have that. She didn't even have a job. Think about it. She didn't have 6 figures. She didn't have a master's degree. Now, I'm not saying a husband can't find a wife like that, but I seen this one dude, he said, oh man, if she can't cook or clean, I don't want her. Dude, you stupid. Because you're going to miss out on a good woman. Like you can't teach her how to cook. You can't teach her how to clean. But you go get this woman that can cook and clean and she cheating on you. She can cook and clean, but she taking your money and putting it somewhere else. They have no idea what a Proverbs 31 woman is. They have no idea. So I tell her she has to be married so that when he see you, you're a Lifetime movie. That this man is saying, you know what? Even if he got the urge to want to have sex, right? And she like, I want to wait till marriage. And this man is like, I'll wait. Because that's how much you mean to me. That I don't want to spend the rest of my life without you. That you bring value to my life. You help me. You are a helpmate. I've been looking for somebody like you. I've been praying for somebody like you. I'm tired of playing games. I'm tired of people cheat. I'm tired of women cheating on me. I'm tired of all of that. I just wanted somebody that can be faithful so we can build together. There are a lot of men out there that's looking for something like that.
I wonder where they at.
Guess what?
Mercury, you and your happy relationship, but I'm like the proverb woman. So I'm waiting on my man, my husband was like that to come.
But watch this though. You think it's by accident you met me today? Or was it by divine connection?
You and already 4 months in.
Huh? No, I'm saying for me, what I'm saying is, listen, God still let you meet me because he knew what I was going to say to you. I'm one of God's messengers. This is not by accident. This is by divine connection. You got to understand, other people have tried to invite themselves on here and I declined them. But I accepted yours. You see what I'm saying? Because God is telling you to prepare for your husband to find you.
Hey, he might be telling you something too.
He is telling me something.
God is good all the time.
Yes, he is. But also too, though, see, listen. God is preparing you so that your husband, God's preparing your husband so that, listen, when he sees you, he can be like, that's a woman that I can spend the rest of my life with. And you'll have what? The desired marriage.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So it's preparing so that you can be found.
On my live, real talk, because somebody else probably needs to hear this as well. But honestly, on my live, like, I try to uplift, motivate, and encourage. So I accept people from all walks of life as long as they're respectful. And when it comes to politics and religion, although I'm a Christian and I believe in God, I don't even hold this conversation in my life, and I just let you just you know what I'm saying? This is out of my norms as well.
Mm-hmm. But listen, because of the anointing on my life, it allows you to feel comfortable to talk to me. Like you said, I normally don't answer questions or something like that. Because when God puts something together, it's called a divine connection of what he's trying to do. So he's preparing you for your husband. Think about it. If you knew that I said, listen, in order for you to get this $10,000 I'm going to give you, you got to get up and be there at 7 o'clock. You can't be late. Would you wake up at 7 or would you get there early enough?
Gonna be there at 6 o'clock waiting in the car.
Exactly. So watch this. You prepared to get that, right?
Yeah.
So that's what God is saying to you today. He's preparing you so that your husband can find you.
Most definitely.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So so if you have kids, he's going to accept them as his own. So this is how I tell people, listen, if he's a good man and you got kids, but he don't want to deal with your kids, he ain't for you. You see what I'm
saying? I've never, like, with me on being single, it's because, like, I've been single by choice. I've never had, like, a problem to get a relationship or something. It's just, in my life, I've been busy, like, working on me, like, you know, and, you know what I'm saying, to better myself as a person. And so I haven't been, like, out dating and mingling, you know what I'm saying? None of it. I haven't been about that life. I just been about working, taking care of me.
Right.
If that makes sense.
But now you ready though, right? Yeah. Go ahead. You can say it. I'm waiting.
I'm trying to see.
You trying to see.
I'm not ready. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm not ready for just anything. I'm ready for, like,
the real thing.
Yeah.
Right.
If it's the real thing, if it's the real thing, I am. But all these little levels and stages, all this and this and this, I'm too good with me. I'm ready for somebody that knows what they want. Like, ain't no, okay, you in, I'm in, okay.
Right.
Not that all that. I'm over that. I'm too good with me. You know what I'm saying? It's not bad. I'm not like a bitter person that I think men are bad or nothing. It's just that I'm too at peace with me. So it's going to take a genuine person because, you know, for us to match energies. You know what I'm saying? I'm not hungry for nothing. I'm not out want to use somebody or nothing. But, you know, good compatibility. And I want where I could be all me. I don't want somebody that I got to fake with. I'm greedy. I like to eat. So I don't want to have to be Miss Pretty. I want to be just me. I don't want to say, oh, that's him. Let me hurry and do this. I want somebody that's going to accept me for who I am, just like this. Yep.
But that's good though. And it's good to be ready for that because, you know, that's where I was at. That's why I was single. Like I had women literally tell me like, oh, if you want, we can get married. Like I know somebody like you, like I can marry. You know what I'm saying? But I wanted God's best for me. And like I had to tell the person, it's nothing personal about you. I said, look, I want God's best for you too. You see what I'm saying? Because I know what God
definitely understand.
You know what I'm saying? Like I had one girl I was dating. She was good people's, didn't cheat. You know what I'm saying? Cook, like, you know what I'm saying? So, and she had a problem
What
with,
was it?
huh?
I was going. You telling me?
Yeah. So she had
I'm
a
listening. I was
problem.
going.
Okay. So like I have 5 kids. So she had a problem with my daughters and not my boys. So, and we tried to talk about it. I'm about to explain it. So listen, I tried to, like we tried to discuss it and, so I found out that, she has 1 child. So,
Mm-hmm.
she said, and I was like, when my daughters, they lived with their mom at that time. So when they would come down and visit, you know what I'm saying? She would act like nonchalant or not, or go out the room or not try to be bothered or go and be busy. I'm just
Red
like,
flag off the bat. That's a red flag off the bat.
exactly. So, but listen, but that's why we broke up though. But I tried to talk to her and see what it was. And so when she finally admitted it, she said that I feel like if I try to engage in a relationship with your children, with your daughters, it's going to take away from me and my daughter relationship. She didn't have a problem engaging with my boy.
Well, you did right.
Right.
You
And
did
so listen,
right.
listen,
Because
I didn't speak.
if you for a person and if you care for a person and if that's what you're gonna accept, if she chose a relationship with you, she has to wholeheartedly accept all 5 of your kids. If you had 10 kids, once you get in a relationship, it's a package deal. You accept that person. You love that person as your own and the kids too. Because if you can't love mine or I ain't love yours, we don't need to be together. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Don't show no differences because that's not right and kids don't deserve it. So if you got a personal problem and it's things that you cannot accept, leave it alone. Many people get in relationships for benefit or the thought of something, but they don't want the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? They limit it to what they want to accept.
Right. Yeah. And so, you know, I learned that I didn't speak bad on her. I just said, and when we tried to work it, but she couldn't get past that. And I just said, you know what? I said sometimes 2 good people just don't fit together. So I didn't speak bad on her. And she's still like me and her are still
Yeah.
friends. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
it ain't yeah, it ain't so much bad. It's just that if a person can accept it, they have to be honest. That means that that's not the relationship for her. You know what I'm saying? Just because I don't like cats or something and I like you, it don't mean that I think you're a bad person. It's just that you're not for me because I don't like cats. You know what I'm saying? So people can be different. So why would I like everything about you and I'm trying to play happy family with you, but in my heart I know I don't like cats. It's not gonna work because at the end of the day, at some point, whether it be in the beginning or later on in a relationship, you're gonna eventually find out that I don't like cats.
right.
So yeah.
So I let her know that. I mean I broke it off and you know, like I just didn't look back. And so, you know, I started to look at like, you know, what like I need and like you said, a package deal. So I needed a woman that fit the
Exactly.
package, that wanted to do this um you know, with me. You know what I'm saying? And I said they wanted to do that and stuff like that. Like I remember
But
go ahead.
I was going to say much respect to you because I've learned when it comes to not you, but I've learned it's like a whole lot of men in order to please a woman, they put their children to the side or they try not to bring their kids around their woman. But if you are co-parenting or you there to take care of your kid, if you thinking about deeper stuff with this woman, she
Right.
needs to be seeing your kids. You know how some people they don't want their kids in the picture because you trying to please this woman and you acting like you don't have a kid in the world. And then once it's time for you to get married or something, and these kids got to come in the picture, you got problems. So off the bat, if it's somebody that you really care for, you take an interest in, they need to know about your children. But a lot of men, they don't put their picture in the kid in the picture, and they let the woman. You don't know a woman you dealing with if you ain't got the kid in the picture. You get what I'm saying? She might
Yeah.
be good and this, and then you done got your heart involved, and you feeling her and you into it, and when it's time for you to bring little Junior and Jody, she like, she on the
Right.
phone. I don't know why he bringing them little dry face kids over here. I ain't gonna do that. I'm not fixing to do that. You understand what I'm saying? So you're gonna have to know what you're dealing with off the bat. And a whole lot of men, they don't do that. They not even I have my own siblings and different people, and my cousins, they be guilty of that as men. And after I know, I'm like, no, because if she can't accept your kids, they ain't what you need. Or you don't need to be acting like you a bachelor and know you got a kid. And when you go into a relationship, if you really feeling this person, then you want to put this kid on them. No, it don't work like that. Because once you get that good, happy relationship, once you establish that, the majority of the baby mamas, they've been keeping them kids all the time. You can't see them kids. No. Soon as you get that woman, they in their feelings, they trying to send the kids and the dog to you.
Right.
And so the person would have to, the woman needs to see your kids. You understand what I'm saying? So always, men in the life, always involve your children. If not just off the back to every little straight that you talk to. I'm talking about when it's a serious relationship, somebody that you're serious about.
Right. You're exactly right. And I tell people exactly what you're saying. Like you said, what you need. And so I had to establish that and understand that, that when I was married, she didn't want to deal with the mother of my children. And then at one point later on, she was like, I don't want to deal with your kids. I was like, well, what's the purpose of us still being married then? You know what I'm saying? And so, I wasn't bitter behind it. She got caught cheating. I just prayed for her. I left. I thank God for protecting me with that. Like when I tell you God protected me, he told me to start using condoms in my own marriage.
Oh my.
Cause so like, I'm just like, and people was like, I even made a video, like it went viral, 100-something thousand views. And people was just like, some people was like, man, God ain't tell you that, and I'm like, yes, he did. You know what I'm saying? But I thank God for that, because at that time she was like, she hated to use the condoms and stuff like that, and she was like, oh, I know you cheating. I'm like, no, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? And so why I started using them. So I remember, after we got done, making love. So she was like, oh, if we have a child, our child's not going to get everything that the baby needs. And I was like, why not? You got both parents here. You know what I'm saying? I'm married, you married, we here together. At that time, I only had my 3 boys. So the 2 girls were with their mom.
I'm listening.
Okay. So then the other time, like she had her 3 kids with her, so they were here. And so I'm like, why wouldn't they get the child get everything they need? So I was like, you know what? So I'm just like, man, look, I'm just going to pray about it. So I said, what we need to do? We need to work on our relationship first before we think about having children, right? So we both decided on birth control. So we both talked about that. And then she went with, we agreed to the pill, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. So, she just used the pill every day, right? So this is what she would do. Every time we got done, right? She would be like, I didn't use I didn't take my pill today. I'm like, what? Why you tell me afterwards? So I'm like giving her the benefit of the doubt. I'm just like, okay. So then she did it again. And so, I'm like, wasn't thinking. I'm like, then she did it again. I was like, ho. Why do you keep telling me afterwards? Oh, I just stuff like that. I said, you know what? So then we switched on birth control. We switched to the patch. And so then one day, you know what I'm saying, was getting the shower. She ain't even have it on. I'm like, where your patch at? Oh, it was itching, so I don't wear it no more. I'm like, so I remember, right? We had a conversation about, we were writing down what we feel like the other person should change so that this marriage can work better. So one of the things she said was, she was just like, I wish you would come to my job and bring me lunch. There's a coworker I got, and her husband always brings lunch. So I'm like, all right, cool. You know what? I'll do that. I'll
lunch.
make you some lunch. I'll bring you some. I can do that. So this one day, right? No, hold up. Before that, so after the patch, we get she get the is it IED or IUD? That thing you put in for years. It's called like IED or something.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So she got that, right? So this one day, right? God says, take your wife something to eat. I'm like, all right, cool. So I make her the lunch, I prepare it and stuff like that, cook. So I go out, take it to her, and I come to her job, right? So she's not at her teller desk, right? So I'm like, hey, like, is my wife here? And the coworker, the one that her husband brings her food, was like, oh no, she's not here today. Like, she ain't here today. I thought she was she's like, oh no, she had a doctor's appointment. Right. So then I call, and I try to give her the benefit of that. I call her like, hey, where you at? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, hey, what's up, babe? Like, where you at? So I actually called her Honey Bun. I'm like, hey, Honey Bun, like, where you at? So she was like, I'm working. So I'm like, you working? I'm like, okay. She was like, wow, where you at? I'm like, I'm at your job. She's like, you stalking me? I'm like, how can I stalk you? Like, I'm your husband. Like, no. Well, what are you doing at my job? I said, I brought you lunch. Remember you told me you want me to make you lunch? Yeah, but why you pick out all these days? I'm like, I just felt like God told me to bring you some lunch today. Right. So I'm like, so I'm still trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, listen, I don't see you at your desk.
You did not still try to get her the benefit of the doubt.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Okay,
I'm like, that's what I said. I said, look, if you in the back, just come up and get your lunch. I'll get my kiss and then I'll be out. You know what I'm saying? And so she's like,
yeah.
I'm like, she's like, well, I ain't there. So I'm like, where you at? She was like, I don't gotta tell you. I'm like, I said, you know what? I said, we married. I said, I'm not even about to argue with you. I said, look, we'll talk about it when we get home. I said, but your coworker already said
I know what you was that calm.
Yeah. When God said he can give you the peace that passes all understanding.
Okay. And so after that, what happened?
Right. So I go home. She gets home, right? So I said, where you at? Where were you at? I don't got to tell you. I said, yes, you do. We're married. I don't have to tell you. I said, okay. I said, I tell you what. I prayed. And I said, were you at the doctor's getting that thing out? She said, that's none of your business. And no. I said, okay. So here's the thing.
I don't care if she was feeding the dog. It would have been over with.
I was trying to make
I don't care if she was feeding the dog. It would have been over with. Because if you my husband and I come to your job and you cannot tell me where you at and it's something so private, we don't need to be together. If you have to let it be a sin for me or I have to deal with the consequences, we're over.
Right.
People always ask me, would you work for your marriage? And I was like, yeah. But a scenario right there, it'll be over. Over.
So, I mean, it would have been over, but you know what? Like, I know how to fight for a marriage. And so I told her, I said, listen, and I prayed to God, and God said, start using condoms. So.
Don't put God on it. Don't put God in it right there.
No, I'm for real.
God called you. God told you to come to the job, to go to work, to bring the lunch. And he gave you what you needed to see. And you overlooked it. And misencouragement is the one that decides to stick with and keep on trying to make it work. He took you to it, and you didn't do nothing with it with what was common sense. And so it took you a little time on your own, and you had to get it on your own in your own way and learn your lesson before you decide to let go. Because once you knew to bring a lunch that day, because God told you to bring lunch that day, that was the day then. So don't put that on him. That other part was on you.
You done?
That was on you.
You done? Can I go now? You done? Can I go now?
Yep.
Please and thank you.
Yep.
So, yeah, oh, it was him. I'm gonna tell you why, because see, I ain't done with the story. You just in the middle, but I appreciate your intellect. But I'm gonna tell you why it was him. Can I finish? I'll let you talk. I didn't even interrupt you.
No, somebody comment because I didn't want that comment to go away.
Okay, go ahead. Read the comment.
Somebody said, well, God don't never want you to get divorced. They said, so God didn't want you to get divorced.
So I'm gonna answer that. So watch this. So it was God that told me to use the condoms. So, because she couldn't answer me. So, and I'm like, you still supposed to let me know. Because I said, I'm not even gonna argue with you. So, and when I tell you, she was like, well, we not using no condoms. I said, oh, yes, we are. I said, you want something? It's going to be like that simple. So she's like, oh, they irritate me and I hate them. I don't want to use these things. I really know you cheating. I'm like, I'm not cheating because she was damaged because she was married before. So, and she was cheated on before because she had trust issues. So those issues were never dealt with and they didn't come out until we got married. You know what I'm saying? And I was telling her, like, I literally would like come home and she would like try to take my cell phone. And I'd be like, here, you can have it. Or I would like lay it down and go use the bathroom and she would sneak. And I'm like, why are you sneaking for it? If I was cheating, I would have a block on my phone. I would have a passcode. You wouldn't be able to get it.
Because of her own insecurities. Because of her own insecurities.
Exactly. So with those condoms, listen, she did not like taking them. She was always mad after we got done. She'd be like, she would enjoy it, but she'd be so mad afterwards. Like, I know you cheat. I can't believe we using this. Like, who does that? Like, people that use condoms cheat. And I'm like, I'm not cheating on you. Like, literally. So, we ended up getting separated and I ended up going to go stay at my mom's house and I was staying in the basement. I was telling my brother to pay for the rent because my brother was paying the full rent. So he was like, if you can pay $250, you can stay here. I'm like, all right, cool. So my mom had like a 2-bedroom like townhouse with a basement fully finished. So my kids stayed in that room together and I stayed in the basement. So this one day, like my heart dropped. I never had this feeling before in my life. Like my heart dropped. And I was just like, I think she did something. Like, I think it was at that moment. So I get up, I walk up the steps. My mom was up. She's like, what are you doing? Where you going? I'm like, I'm about to go out there and see who she slept with. My mom started crying like, no, don't go. My mom started getting emotional. I'm like, Mom, calm down. She's like, I don't want you to do nothing to her. I'm like, I'm not going to do nothing to her. I just want to see who it is. She's like, no, please don't go. I don't want nothing to happen to you. I'm like, I'm going to be all right. So my mom like crying, like, no, like pushing me back. I'm like, Mom. So I'm like, okay, Mom, I'm not going to go. God showed me in a vision who it was. It was my barber.
Was it?
Right. So.
That's why you wearing your hair bob?
I got a new barber. He ain't my barber no more.
Oh.
So I knew it was him because God showed me. So then I come to go get my hair cut, right? Now, mind you, I wasn't going to let him cut it because there's other barbers there. You know what I'm saying? So I go there and the owner comes out. Now I know him. So he come out like, oh, like, yo, look, man, I just want to make sure you cool, man. I don't want you fighting in my place of business. I'm like, man, I'm fighting for what? He's like,
how did he know? How did he know that you knew if you must? How did the people in the place at the barbershop find out that you knew who it was?
So somebody, he said, that's what he said. He said somebody came to my shop cussing him out like, that's foul. You sleeping with Loki wife, man. Like, that's crazy. Like, why would you do that? So, he was a person sleeping with a whole bunch of people. So, and he was married himself, So anyway, so I'm like, listen, bro, I'm cool. I said, look, but since you out here, can you cut me? Because he sure as well is not about to cut me, bro. Because if he do, we really would be fighting. Like, you know what I'm saying? So he's like, oh, yeah, I'll cut you and the boys. So I go in there. I don't even speak to him, right? So I'm always talking like I talk, talking about scriptures. So I saw it because that demon started to manifest. And he was like, man, you always talking about God. I said, bro, I ain't talking to you. I said, you better keep your mouth shut. Stay over there in your conversation. I ain't talking to you. I said, I'm always going to talk about God. I don't care who it is. You ain't never had no problem then. Yeah. Now you got a problem? Man, miss me with that, right? So he shut up, right? So then I leave, right? So then at this point, my cousin, she stopped talking to me because she was listening to what my wife was telling her. Like she was feeding her all these lies and talking about all this stuff. And I was hitting on her, all this stuff. I'm like, so my cousin stopped talking to me. And then there was this other girl, my cousin best friend, which was the girl that she was around. I told her, listen, stop hanging around her because she ain't no good for you. Like she gonna betray you.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, you shouldn't be around nobody like that. Oh, I ain't got that many friends and she married. I said, just because they married don't mean they got good advice. She ain't no good. She be beating up her husband. She done pulled his dreads out the one time, like literally like pulled the locks out. Be locking him out, you know, and one of the things she was doing the one time I was like, babe, where you going? I was like, honey bun, where you going? She was just like, oh, we about to go out. I'm like, for what? She's like, well, she want to go out because her and her husband got into it. And so she goes out and gets dressed up and she flirts with men just to make her husband mad. I'm like, that ain't no healthy marriage. I said, and why would you endorse that? I said, you should be, well, she need me. I said, she don't need you like that. I said, what you think? People gonna be trying to holler at you? I don't want them. I want you. I said, but you being around that energy. I told you to stay away from this girl. So she goes, you know what I'm saying? So then, like I said, my cousin stopped talking. So then, right? So I ended up, at this point, we were separated, you know what I'm saying? So I get a call. I actually went to the store, the grocery store, and I see one of my exes. So my exes was like, you know, how you been or whatever like that. So I'm like, you know what? I said, just going through a rough time in my marriage. I'm like, could you just pray for me? She was just like, oh, really? Yeah, like, oh, I missed you. Like, we can hang out if you want. We can go talk about it. I said, hold up. I don't even feel comfortable talking to you like that. I said, listen, and I still want to be respectful to my wife. I said, because I'm still married. And I said, and God told me to be the good husband to the end. And that's what I'm going to do. Now, mind you, my phone dials her. And I knew it was God because there's no way like these phones are touch sensitive. Like you got to touch the side of it and use your finger to call. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it dialed her and she heard the whole conversation. So she listening. And I'm like, listen, I'm not going to do that. I said, we definitely ain't having sex. I said, because I want to be the good husband to the end. I said, and God knows that end. I said, so I'm seeking counsel right now. She's not coming with me, but I'm coming because I'm still fighting for my marriage. And I'm going to do that. So she, that's when, you know, you said what?
I'm listening. Keep talking.
Okay. So that's when, you know, all of the, like so after I leave, she calls me like, you know, I heard everything. I'm like, oh, she's like, well, who is it? I'm like, no, because you're going to try to beat him up, right? So I'm like, I'm not about to tell you that you're going to be trying to fight him. So she was like, but I said, but wasn't I respectful though? She's like, yeah, but so I'm like, all right, cool. So then she's like, well, once you get back, all your stuff is going to be out. So that's when I had to go get all my stuff out. And so that's when I ended up moving, you know, to my mom's or whatever. So that girl that was causing all that trouble was there, was like, oh, yeah, that's why I'm listening. You know what I'm saying? Like, you do all this stuff. I said, I ain't cheating. I said, you know what? It's cool, though. I'm going to just pray for you. So the police come. I called the police. And they were like, you so calm? I said, listen, we going through a divorce. I said, listen, look, so God said he'll give you the peace that passes all understanding. I said, so why even be upset or mad? I said, we tried it. It didn't work. She don't want to go to counseling. She won't listen to people that I told her not to. So I'm cool. I leave. So that night, she tried to overdose on some pills. And so that toxic friend calls her mom and tells her mom and lies. And so her mom put a hit out on me. Tells her cousins and was like, they about to come down there and kill him. Now, mind you, I don't know nothing about this. So then she ends up telling my cousin. My cousin don't even tell me nothing. A cousin that I grew up with, that I done slept in the same bed with in my house. But the Bible tells me that if you pray for your enemies, God will make your enemies be at peace. Proverbs 16:7, it says, when your ways please the Lord, I'll make your enemies be at peace with you. Yeah. Enemies mean anybody causing hatred in your life, right? So at this point, I noticed she has slept with this dude, right? So, and at that point I was done. She had the locks changed. I'm like, how the heck you get the locks changed? And you wasn't even on the lease? Because I got the house first, the rent of the house first.
Yeah.
And then she came. They said she couldn't sign the lease until she got there. Well, we never got around to her signing it, but she had the locks changed. So I went to the people and said, listen, y'all better give me a new lease right now. Meaning that this is done. I'm going to pay for it, what's left, and that's it. Because how you going to change the locks if she ain't on there? So got that out of my name and everything like that. I thank God for that. They was like, wow, like, you're a man of integrity. I said, yeah, thank you. That's what I am. I'm a man of God, so I'm a man of integrity. So that happened, right? So I didn't tell her. So then it's time for me to bring my it's time for me to take her back. And she's like, well, since we ain't gonna be together, since you brought me down here, I want you to take me back home. I said, okay, cool. I'll take you back home. So I'm like, okay, I'll drive the truck. So she tells my cousin, she tells her friend, and that toxic friend calls my cousin and tells my cousin. Remember, it says, when your ways please the Lord, he'll make your enemies be at peace. And the Bible says, if you fail to warn them, their blood will be on your hands, right? So she had to tell my cousin. And my cousin called me. And when I tell you it was the power of God was on there, the Holy Spirit hit us so hard, I started crying. I knew it was God. And she was like, cuz I apologize. Yeah. She was like, please don't go. They gonna kill you. I said, who gonna kill me? Like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, like, I believed all that stuff because she's like, cuz it was hard because every day she was telling me this and she was like, I just kept hearing it. I said, cuz you know, I ain't put my hands on her. I said, now if I ain't put my hands on the mother of my children and all that she took me through with all them kids and all that mess, you think I would have, come on now. She ain't, I said, cuz come on now. I said, you knew I grew up in grandma's house. And I said, come on now. You know me. You know that ain't even my MO. And I said, if I put my hands on her, she would have had black and blue marks. She would have had that. I said, come on, cuz. So she like, yeah. So then she was like, cuz, but don't go. She told me what they wanted to do, and they were going to try to come down here and kill me. But at the time, the wife was still coherent, even though she was intoxicated with those pills. She had so many, but they wasn't working. So she was like kind of hot. So, and in the background, she said she was telling them, Mom, don't kill him because I still love him. Right? Now, mind you, that and toxic lying and talking about he cheating and doing all this stuff and everything and with women and we done caught him today and all this stuff. So she said, okay, well, they won't come down there. But if he step foot in this state, we gonna kill him. Your cousin said they gonna kill him. So my cousin, she tell me this, like, don't go, cuz, don't go. So I get off the phone. I tell my mom, me and my cousin make up, you know. I tell my mom, like, I love you, cuz she's like, I love you too. I tell my mom like, well, call your pastor, and, you know, and ask him what to do, you know. So at the time, you know, he a pastor, you know, he a prophet, you know, they say so. So I'm like, yeah, I'm telling my whole story. So now, mind you, in the back of my head, I'm like, yeah, he gonna tell me don't go. You know what I'm saying? The pastor gonna say that. So I tell him the whole story. Yeah. Like they want to kill me, all of this. I'm like, what should I do? He like, well, let me know what you're gonna do. Click. Hello? 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 I must be getting pranked. So I'm like, what? This man ain't have nothing. I immediately heard God speak. Be ready in season and out of season. That's what the word says. When it's favorable and when it's unfavorable. And God said, but you always telling everybody, yea, though you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. His rod and staff, they comfort me. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Every tongue that comes against you shall be condemned. If God is no respecter of persons, like you telling everybody all these scriptures, the God that make your enemies be at peace with you. He said, take your wife back. It was time to walk these scriptures back. Take her back home.
I thought you were talking about back home with you.
He said, take your wife back home. So I took her back to her hometown. But remember, they were going to kill me, right? So I told my mom, I said, I gotta go. She was like, She was like, did the pastor say anything? I said, he hung up the phone and said, call me. He said, let me know what you're going to do. I didn't even tell him what I was going to do. I said, but my mom was like, you better not eat nothing up there. I said, Mom, I'm going to be all right. God got this thing. So I get up there, and when I tell you God was so strong, nothing happened. Nobody came.
Yeah.
I even unpacked the U-Haul truck. And when I tell you, listen, I still try to do my part. I tried to tell my granddad, like, granddad, because my granddad lived in Chicago, so it wasn't that far from where we was at, about like an hour and a half. So I'm like, yo, granddad, listen, when I get up here, I need you to come pick me up or whatever. Oh, I'm busy. I'm like, so I was trying to get up there, drop the U-Haul truck off and run. Like, you know what I'm saying? When I get up there, her mom cooked and I prayed. You know, I always pray about my food. And so her mom, other daughter, was married. Her husband was there. Now, when I tell you everybody ate, everybody had a paper plate. Even the other son-in-law, he ate off a paper plate. This woman fed me off of a real plate.
Yeah.
A real plate. When I left, nothing happened. And I didn't even stay the night. I went to Chicago, saw my grandparents, saw my dad, saw my brother, and I was out the next day. My sister, I was out the next day. And when I came back, God said, I wanted to show your family and all those that talked about you that you really love this woman. Because there was a time when my other cousin, her sister said, why would you do that girl like that? I'm like, how you going to tell me why would I do? And I'm like, really? You got her to tell me something after your husband beat the brakes off of you? How many times? I'm like 12 years old and I literally was crying because I'm like, I would try to stop him, but I couldn't because I knew I was too young. That was a grown man.
Yeah.
I'm like, had I would have been a grown man, there's no way he would have put his hands on my cousin. But I couldn't beat him because I was young. I'm like, I think maybe like 14 or something like that. But I knew that was a whole grown man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and I end up meeting this prophet, right? I end up going to church. And here's the kicker. So the prophet says, she's going to try to come back to you. She said she's going to try to sleep with you. He said, but don't sleep with her because she got something. She got a disease. So I'm like, okay. So now, mind you, I take her back. Then she calls me and we have a conversation. We talk long hours and she like apologizing. She like, oh, I should have did this. Oh, I miss you. You know, and then we got to the point afterwards, after about like a couple hours of talking, you know, I'm blessed, bro. How you doing, man? So at this point, we talking, you know, for hours. And then she like, you know what I miss? Like, I miss sleeping with you. I was just like, yeah, it's crazy now. I was like, I'm married now. I can't even get none. Like, where'd that happen at? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, now mind you, we waited till marriage for sex, but something happened that last night. When I went to visit her and I told her I wanted to wait till marriage, but we were sleeping in the same bed. And so I had a pillow over me, you know, just to like help, you know, with the temptation.
Yeah.
But that last night before I went back home, she grabbed me and caressed it. And so it just, from there, bam, and it happened. And so we went to church the next day, you know, and the pastor was like, you know, Father, forgive them for their sins. So I'm thinking like, all right, like God had forgave us and stuff. So we still got married, you know. So she telling me that night, remember, she like, well, he's on the phone, like, I miss sleeping with you and I miss being held in your arms. And I'm thinking like, that's because this fool just slept with you. And he just got up and left.
Yeah.
Now, I ain't say that, but again, and she like saying all the right things. And she was just like, can you do me a favor? I'm like, what? She like, can we use condoms? I said, why? I started playing dumb. I said, why? I said, heck no. You don't even like condoms. They irritate you. Now here I go. I said, look, I said, oh no, we're not using condoms. I said, listen, you know how long it's been? It's been months. I said, listen, I'm about to go ham. I'm like, no, we're not using them, right? She's like, no, please, please. I love you. please, please. I'm like, no. I'm like, you don't even like them. They irritate you. She was like, what? Well, we've been using them. I said, yeah, but we ain't using them now. I said, I'm gonna get you pregnant tonight. Like, I'm about to get you pregnant. I'm like, no, we're not gonna do that. So she like, please, please, please. And I'm like, nah, no, we not using them. So then she like, no, please, she's like, please, if you love me, we'll use them. We've been using them. Why we want to stop now? So I'm like, all right, okay, cool. So then I'm like, I just kind of like give in. And she's like, okay, the next time I come down, I'm gonna get a hotel room and we can stay together. I said, okay. But I never took her up on that. And that's how I knew that God told me to use condom, because it switched. Because she didn't even tell me that she had something. And I got confirmation because my cousin slept with this dude. And they used the condom. Yeah. And the doctors had to let everybody know that he slept with. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so my cousin was telling me, not knowing that it was him that I knew that slept with my wife at the time. And she was like, cuz, like, I was afraid. I thought I had something, but I did the test and mine came back negative. And she said he kept begging me to sleep without a condom. And I was like, no, you're not getting this unless you use a condom. And he begged her, but she said no. And so he finally agreed to it. So if my cousin would have did that, guess what? She would have had something too.
Yeah.
So to think that this woman was going and doing this and talking about she loved me, and she couldn't even tell me that she had a disease. Because guess what? We know condoms can break. We know condoms can fall. Nah, we not doing that. We not doing that. I never said anything about that. So I thank God, and like I told you, that's why God said that, because the prophet confirmed it and let me know when he said she had something. And then the next time I met him, when I let him know, he was like, is her name Chocolate? I was just like, no, but the tattoo on her back is named Chocolate. Yeah. So he confirmed that. He let me know not to sleep with her, and I didn't. And I thank God for protecting me from that. And again, I still wasn't bitter about it. I still wasn't bitter. I wasn't even mad. And even afterwards, I was still, me and her weren't Facebook friends no more, you know what I'm saying? But I was still comment on her sister and her husband's marriage. And, that was good, and then it got to a point where she was just like, kept commenting on everything I said, like, why are you so happy? And I'm like, why wouldn't I be happy? We just got divorced. And I'm like, you the one didn't want to listen? Like, you the one didn't want to listen? I'm like, every time, like, I remember she would come to me about marriage advice for her friends, for that one toxic girl and the other woman that yes, God is a keeper, So, and the other relationship, and I would tell her this advice based off of what God had gave me, and she's like, this is some good advice, and I'm like, you should listen too. And she would get so mad, and I'm like, first of all, this ain't the advice for me. This is from what God gave me, because I wanted to write a book about marriages anyway. I just never got around to writing it, and so I finally put it together, And so she was saying that, and I'm just like, but I thank God for protecting me from keeping me from that and stuff like that. So I had to unfriend her. Well, she was unfriended, but I had to my son texted me if I'm playing basketball today. So I had to block her because she kept commenting on everything I commented on. Like, literally would comment because she was just so mad. And when I tell you the power of God protected me.
Why she was mad because you found out about it?
She was mad because I blocked, because I wasn't bitter by our marriage. Like, I wasn't bitter about it. She was like, well, what they gonna say if we get divorced? I said, why are you worried about what people gonna say? I said, you don't want to be here anyway. Exactly. And then the one time she was like, why don't you give your kids back to their mom so our marriage can work? I said, where they do that at? What? Are you crazy? No. When she said she wanted to be a stay-at-home wife, you know, and then she started out like that. Then she wanted to switch because she didn't have the patience like I did. And then it was like,
Yeah.
I can't believe God is blessing me and not blessing you. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm watching the kids while you do this. Because I still DJ'd and sold DVDs and CDs and stuff. So, you know, and yeah, I know. And I told her, and I said, look, if I'm so bad, according to what you're saying, I said, why am I asking for the divorce? You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Let me see. My son was supposed to go pick up my other son.
Huh?
My other son calling me.
Oh.
I was trying to, because my other son was supposed to go pick him up.
You definitely didn't have your experiences.
Yeah. And I talk about a lot of that in the book. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just like, I thank God for protecting me. And I wasn't bitter about none of it. I just had to block her. I went on to block her sister and her husband. I was like, I'm done with all y'all. You know, but I thank God for God's protection. So let me see. So God protected me from that. And when I tell you I'm thankful for that, and after that, I said, God, I'm never getting married again until you bring her in front of me, until you show me who she is. I said, I'm not going to pick, I'm not going to choose, I'm not going to do none of that. And I said, God, you're gonna have to take care of that. And I said, you're gonna have to confirm it and make this is the woman that's for me. I want my rib. I don't want nobody else's wife. I want mine, because we have a choice. And that's what I said. So when I tell you, like, he protected me, I thank God for that, because when he said use the condoms, like, I could have not used them. And I did, and guess what? She confirmed it when she said, let's use them. Because you knew you had something. Like, how do you say you love somebody like that, and you can't even tell me that you got something? Because what if we would have slept together and it slipped off? Then guess what? Now I got something. Right. So I thank God for that. So, you know, so I thank God that he protected me and kept me from all of that. And I said, I'm not getting married again. And I met some good women, but I'm like, I want who God has for me. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just thankful of where he placed me at, and writing this book and putting this together and stuff like that, you know. And when he downloaded this information and put it together, and I've been counseling marriages, you know, and because he wanted me to dispel some myths that some prominent preachers and pastors and prominent influencers talk about. Oh, if they single, they can't give you no advice. Where do you get that from? Just because somebody's married doesn't mean they have good advice. And so you want to go to the Bible, okay. Paul was single. Naomi was single, and she taught Ruth how to get Boaz because she was a widow because her husband died. And then guess what? Jesus is single. So, and if you want to go one better than that, who is God's wife? You know what I'm saying? So, like that, you know what I'm saying, to dispel these myths and stuff like that, you know. And I understand they say, you know, how sometimes single people can influence you a certain way. But what if somebody is being led by the Holy Spirit? Or what if somebody is giving you some wisdom? This is what you do to fix your marriage. So I got references from people that I didn't fix their marriage while I was single. You know?
Yeah.
Yep. One marriage that went on their 8-year anniversary. Husband left the house. I taught the wife how to get her husband back and told her what to do when he come back. And she said, he ain't coming back. And I said, God told me that he coming back.
Amen.
And she would call me. You said God said my husband coming back, and God's gonna work this thing out. And he left. I said, and God said what he said. God's word don't come back void. Then her husband ended up buying a plane ticket, talking about he was gonna move. I said, God said he coming back. He got on that plane. But you say, I said, God said what he said. I know what he said. You got to prepare. And then she saw a Facebook post, him putting a picture up there, living my best life. I just want to be happy. And she was like, oh, he's having fun. I said, no, he's not. He's miserable. That is a front. That's a Facebook front. People are feeding that because he ain't happy. I said, stop right here. We're going to pray. I said, Lord, don't let him sleep until he do right by his family. Because when he left, he affected the children. You know what I'm saying? You moving to a whole nother state of you leaving from Pennsylvania to go to Texas. You affected the children. They used to daddy being there. And now you gone? So then, right? One day, after I prayed that he don't get sleep until he do right by his family, one day, he sends her a text message and tells her don't respond. I just want to tell you I love you. I miss you. I ain't been happy since I left. I can't sleep. I'm miserable. I'm coming back. Right? So I'm coming back, right? So guess what? She called me like, is he coming back? I said, I told you what God said. Now prepare for your husband to come back because your husband is going to be under the impression that you are still the same version of yourself when he left. Them demons and the spirits is going to influence him to say she's just like she was before you left. So you have to be on a whole other level. This is why you've been training. Well, what if he asked me who's my mentor? I said, tell him it's me. You ain't got to worry about that because when God is in it, one or two things is going to happen. Either he going to tell you that you can continue getting mentorship or you can't do it because you got to respect your husband. Now, mind you, me and him grew up. In high school, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He know more, but we still cool. So I'm like, don't worry. Guess what? She ended up telling him one day, and he said, oh, he's a man of God. You can still get mentorship. Yeah. So when I tell you God did that thing, God put that thing together. And I told her, she was like, you was right and everything like that. And I said, you had to go through this in order to see what it takes. Because you were fighting. You were fighting how God instituted for you to fight. Blessings to you as well. So that's how it's supposed to be. But a lot of people, they don't study this word. And they don't know what it takes to fight. They didn't know what it takes. Oh, I'll be faithful, you be faithful. No. How do we come together? How do we pray together? How do we worship together? When there's a disagreement, I tell you, sweetheart, there's something I don't like. And you say, well, I don't like it either. So when you had that communication to be able to sit here and have a conversation so y'all can come together, it says don't go to bed mad at each other. Don't let the sun go down while you still have your wrath. So I taught her how to be a wife and taught her what to do and how to pray for her husband and how to fight in her marriage. And she couldn't wait. She was the first one that bought my book. She bought multiple copies. You know what I'm saying? Because I did a pre-order. Because I told her this. I said, look, you're getting my book in real life. She said, well, how am I going to pay you back? Because we didn't spend hours and stuff. She would call me. And I would tell her, I got passionate. She was like, you feel like you're yelling at me. I said, listen, I don't play when it comes to my assignments. If you don't know what God is telling me to tell you, you can go ask somebody else to be your coach. There's a million coaches on Facebook. But I'm not playing. You got to do this. You can't sit here and tell me you want these results, but you keep doing this. You got to do this. So when I tell you this thing, God broke this thing wide open, and she wrote me a reference concerning this book. It's like your phone got an echo now. Now say something. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Is it better now?
Way better.
Way better. So when I tell you God broke that thing open, and I was teaching people what marriage was supposed to be about, how it's supposed to be. Because I remember years ago I was on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Cool. Thank you. That's better. So I was on Facebook And the guy I went to school with, his brother tagged me in a post about one of his friends, and she put her whole relationship status on, typed everything. And he was like, "Yo, look, what do you think, man?" I explained this girl's situation, and when I tell you, this girl said, "Excuse me, sir, you got a book?" I'm like, no. She like, "If you had a book, I'd buy it and give it to all my girlfriends." So mind you, it's already sold. All I gotta do is write it.
Yeah.
So I remember, trying to write it, starting, stopping, starting, stopping. So this one time, God wakes me up in the middle of the night, and I end up watching like the Word Network. So, and this lady is talking, and she is on the thing like, "Yeah, God told me to write this book for years, and I just never wrote it." So one day, I go into Barnes and Nobles. Holy Spirit says, "Look over." I look over. It's my book with somebody else's name on it. I said, "Oh, I better start writing this book." Because I'm not
What you mean?
Huh? So the book that God gave her to write, God gave it to somebody else.
Yeah.
So if you don't write the book that God has given you, God will give it to somebody else. Now you can write the book about your life, but see, this book, I can write a book about my life, but the desired marriage, because it's different. Because at first the title was what God really wants a marriage to be. You see what I'm saying? And then as I started to get more into it, God said, just call it the desired marriage. Because nobody ever got married with intentions of getting a divorce. So that is the thing of changing the dynamics of a marriage. And then, even if you don't believe in God, you're going to get God when you read this book.
Yeah.
The title don't say God on the front. You see what I'm saying? I had somebody that I played basketball with last Monday. Actually, this past Monday. He said, he was like, "Man, where you been at, man?" I was like, "I've been working on my podcast. I got that launching, man, soon. And I've been working on the relaunch of my book." He was like, "What book?" I was like, "I'm writing a book on marriage." He was just like, "Man, I'm thinking about getting married. I'm thinking about proposing to her soon." He was like, "Man, I need your wisdom." Now, mind you, this guy, we talked about it. He's like, he don't believe in God. He know there's a higher power, But guess what? He's like, "I need your wisdom." So guess what? He said, "I want to have this marriage. I want to have that desired marriage." He's like, "I'll buy your book." So when he get in that book, he gonna meet God, and it's gonna hit him.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But it's gonna change his marriage so they can have that, because that's what everybody wants. Everybody that got married wants a desired marriage. You even said it yourself. "I don't want this, and I can't know where you at." And no, I don't want that. I'm ready for the real thing. That's why it's called desired marriage. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah.
What makes you just stop like that?
Well, I was gonna let you talk. Transformation must take place.
No, sometimes it's good to talk, but sometimes it's good to listen. It just go with the energy.
Right. So yeah, so that's why I wrote it. You know what I'm saying? And just like counsel people. Like, so I have that now. I have that set up. I got my webpage, so I'll be counseling people, to be able to help them get what they want, and teaching them about marriage and like how to fight for your marriage. Like I did a video on, I could have helped Will Smith and Jada. I did a whole segment on that, half-hour segment. I did a whole segment on Kanye West and his wife at that time. You know what I'm saying? I called that segment Spiritual Entrapment, and I called Jada Pinkett and Will Smith a Spiritual Entanglement. So like I explained that thing the way it was supposed to be explained, and how God gave it to me and showed me and stuff like that. So, you know what I'm saying, to be able to show people that this is how it's supposed to be. So that's why I ended up writing that, So yeah. But if you want a personal copy, just let me know. I can sign it for you. I'll send it to you, autograph it, you know what I'm saying? And you can have a personal copy before it goes viral. So, but I'm just saying because I know what God is saying because
Right.
God had me write that, you know what I'm saying? And I give him all the glory for it, and because I've seen people that God put together separate.
They said, what's your podcast called?
It's going to be called Loki's Effect. LOKEY apostrophe S effect AFFECT. It will be launching next week. So, but they can follow me on if they follow me on TikTok, I'll be promoting that.
Follow him. That's how we can contact you.
You know what I'm saying? If they want a copy of the book, I have it on Amazon. If they need the link, I can send them a link. They can send me a message, but if they want a personalized copy, it's only $22. I'll send it to them and I'll autograph it. I tell everybody, thank you. I appreciate that, because I want to see people marriages get fixed. Because like I said, I've seen people that with God put together struggle because they didn't keep him as the glue. It says, three-stranded cord is not easily broken. You know what I'm saying? So people don't understand that keeping God first is what God is saying. He's supposed to be that glue. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so that's why I wrote that and all my experiences and like everything that God has given me about marriage, understanding women. I have people that it was like, you understand women, you know what I'm saying? Like it was like, yeah, because Holy Spirit, has me do that and stuff like that to be able to talk to anybody. I talk to people that was atheists, whoever, you know what I'm saying? Even a Muslim lady, I was talking to her cousin. I didn't know her at the time. And I was talking to her cousin about Jesus, and she came over there and was just like, she had her hijab on. I'm not about to argue religion. I said, neither do I. I don't argue religion. Listen, I talk about relationship. Had a conversation for over an hour, and she said, could you mentor my son? See, it ain't about religion to me. It's about relationship. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, her son is a black man, and he needs a male figure in his life that can teach him the rights and the basics. You see what I'm saying? Versus me saying, oh, yeah, your religion is wrong.
Excuse me. Someone in his live stated, can people with happy marriages get anything out of the book?
Yes. What you can get is you can get how to have a deeper relationship or a deeper marriage. It can go to a level that you didn't think existed. You see what I'm saying? So imagine a good marriage versus a great marriage. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, it can go to the next level. You feel what I'm saying? So like new heights and new things in your marriage that you can go to. So imagine if there's a shift where maybe the wife gets a job, you know what I'm saying? And the husband is like, okay, how do I help my wife out? Like, you know what I'm saying? Okay, she has this practice. What do I do? Or like there's a marriage that I seen on TikTok where the wife is more the speaker, but the husband is always supporting her. He's always at all her events. He's like security, you know what I'm saying? And helping out. Sometimes he's the only male there. He's selling her books and stuff like that. And she is always bringing God back to glory and saying, I'm thankful to the husband that I got. Yet he's still the head of that marriage, you know what I'm saying? But something like that, you know what I'm saying? But they can see and be like, oh man, and it's just a good read. And it can be where you can give this book to somebody else. And here's a great example. My aunt, right? She purchased my book. She was just like, nephew, you had me crying. She said, if I would have had I wish I had your book before I got married. She said, no, don't get me wrong. Like, I love my marriage. You know what I'm saying? But if I would have had your book beforehand, I wouldn't have went through certain things. So, and she gave me a compliment, and they was already married. And I took a picture of them. I said, can I get a picture of y'all? Because everybody that buys my book, I ask for a picture or they give me a picture, you know what I'm saying? So I can put it on my social media. I gotta start putting some more on TikTok, because I'm getting to, like I said, relaunching and stuff like that. So that's good. My wife waiting, because God has somebody for you. So, faith coach. And so that having that book, you know what I'm saying, for them so that they can understand oh wow, like, and you can let somebody else know, you know what? We've read this book, we believe in it, we have a good marriage, we believe this can help you. Because not every book out there is a good marriage book. Not every book out there is going to help you in what you want. Because there are some people that have advice that is not good for us. You know what I'm saying? But yet they might have a lot of influence, so we might take it. You know what I'm saying? So, any other questions that they had on there?
Yeah. What?
No, I said any other questions. You said yeah. I thought you was gonna say it.
Huh?
I said any other questions.
No, I'm just taking in today.
You just taking it in today?
You hear me?
Yeah, that's good. So what do you do for like work, or your social media influencer, or what?
I don't know what, I'm just me. I try to just uplift, motivate, and inspire. Just try to do positivity and up in my life. That's what I do. Just like we talk about everything. Just always something to just try to uplift people. And with my content, I try to make people laugh, sometimes inspire, but it's
Mhm.
always something positive. I don't try to do negative stuff. Just something to be uplifting, to try to make a difference in any way I can on a positive level.
That's good. That's good. So yeah, so pretty much, yeah, I'm a life coach, a relationship therapist,
You say
marriage
what?
counselor. I said I'm a relationship therapist, marriage counselor, mentor, so author. So I help people with credit repair. Yeah, I do a lot of things. So being a single father, that allows me to be an entrepreneur and to be able to work from home or work from anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So I can spend time with my children and stuff like that. So like I'm about to go play basketball with with my boys. So because my son just got a basketball. So mhm.
Well, that's
you
what's up.
you have any children? You
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 know,
have any?
somebody called my phone, and when they
No.
called my phone, they made it go down like
Oh,
that.
you got any children?
Huh?
You got any children? You have any children?
You already asked me that. Check out my content.
Okay. So
Check
y'all pray
out
for me.
check
I need to.
check out my content so you can see about me.
Okay. So it says somebody said y'all pray for me. I need my first property. I'll be definitely praying
You
for
said
that. You definitely gonna get it. So just be standing and speaking into existence. And standing in agreement with you. The Bible says that if two or more touch and agree, touching concerning anything on earth, Matthew 18:19, it shall come to pass. So you will have that. Be looking for more properties after that. I feel the Holy Spirit speaking that God is going to shift some things into your life. Your life is going to change. You're going to see things happen like you were talking about your first property. You're going to get many more properties after that. God is going to give you ideas on how to use those properties and what to use them for and stuff like that. So I just speak that wisdom. So just take that. If you got to record that, take that and play it over again. So yeah, in the name of Jesus, amen.
right.
Hmm. So, what
What?
state you live in?
What?
What state you live in?
I live in the South, deep down in the South, in the country, in the
I can
country.
tell by you said fixing.
Don't look. Don't be hagging on me.
I'm not. I'm just saying, like the accent with the slang, is different. You know what I'm saying? So I was
Oh,
thinking somewhere down south, probably like Alabama or something. So, but what state?
I'm not gonna tell you, but you probably like. You know what the accent, so you know what the South is. That's
I'm
all
just
I'm gonna
saying
say.
though. You can say it. I told you I'm from Pennsylvania. I mean, I got family in Florida. I got family in Edenville, Florida. So
From where?
Edenville, Florida.
Um,
So yeah. So what state?
I hate this little. I'm telling you, somebody called my phone, and it makes me like I can't really hear now.
Oh, okay. Okay. So what you gonna do for the rest of the day? What are you gonna do for the rest of the day?
Just I'll probably go out and get me some food. I think I want some hibachi tonight. I might get me some hibachi, run and do that, and then I'm in for the night.
Okay.
If I decide to do it.
All right.
What about? Oh, you already said what you was gonna do.
Yeah, I'm gonna go play basketball, so and then come back and get something to eat. So yeah, I'm gonna have fun with the boys real quick. You know. Yeah. But yeah, if you want, I mean, we could do some more lives together if you want.
You said what?
I said if you want, we could do some more lives together if you want.
Most definitely we can. And my phone, when somebody called, it made I don't know why I should have had on do not disturb. It altered the sound. And so we most definitely can do lives again together. And I really appreciated you and your words, encouragement, your different topics. I appreciated everything about this dual live that we just did, and I don't want to hold you up on any of your things that you have to do. I truly appreciate you and the beautiful people in your live as well. Tell them and everybody in my live, make sure that you follow Mr. Encouragement. And yeah, I just wish you blessings and much success on your book. And I hope that you have a beautiful day and feel free to join my live, come up in my live, just whatever you want to do, have your way.
Okay. Thank you. I truly appreciate that. So I always say to God be the glory. You know, I give him the glory for everything. Even for this live, even meeting you today. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just thankful for that. You know what I'm saying? I'll definitely be praying for you as well too. And I'll be praying that, you know, that God sends you the husband that you deserve. You know, somebody that will love you the way God intended for a husband to love a wife, you know, so that you can have that beautiful marriage, that desired marriage. You know, so I thank you for that and giving me the opportunity to speak on your platform. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely appreciate that. I don't take anything lightly. I always give to God be the glory, but I thank you for that. And God is going to bless you for that. Even being obedient and actually even, coming on here and choosing, you know, me and everything like that. So I definitely appreciate that. So, and I definitely, like I said, we'll do some more lives together. So I'll come on at some point, you know, so I definitely appreciate that. And I hope you have a blessed night.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Amen.
You're welcome. All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
All right.